Tusikubali kutenganishwa na siasa, tujirushe kwa mashimo, miaka 5, miaka 10, tuishi tukiregret kama watu wa Mount Kenya.
I listened to one of us argue that this country is likely to be taken to Paris, that we are likely to default in debt payment. That is irresponsible statement.
The Mbadi I know, you should have foreseen that. You are an expert. By the time you are giving that commitment, Honorable Mbadi, those are things that would have been on your fingertips.
Nasikia Sifuna anaongea na nguvu. Wakati unaongea mambo yangu Sifuna, ujue mimi ndio mwanzilishi wa ODM. So naenda polepole kidogo.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi ndio Sifuna.
I think William Ruto is actually unfit for the position of President of the Republic of Kenya.
Doing politics with the military. And for your information, hiyo Ruto must go, si kusema ati atolewe ofisi kinyume ya sheria. No. Watu, is a clarion call in preparation for the general election. Ruto atatolewa kikatiba na uchaguzi wa 2027.
Watu walikuwa wamezoea kutugawanya, sisi hatugawanyiki, sisi tutakaa wote pamoja. Na tupatiane heshima. Tuna kama jamii, sisi ni neighbors, tujue vile tunaweza kuishi wote pamoja.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot is happening. Well, right here in the dark soil of the eastern part of Africa, Fred Matiang'i adds on the list of those bidding for presidents come 2027. He joins Peter Salasia and the rest of the, what are they called? The best word is hopefuls for presidents. And then, of course, William Ruto and the Kralion call, according to Rick G, is Ruto must go. And so it appears that the ground is ready for the Matiang'i presidency if the crowds and the masses we saw today in Kisii are anything to go by. And therefore, we start on that note in our conversation tonight. Is Matiang'i the man for the job, or you have another? Remember, Amaraga is also a hopeful for the presidency. And so we are spoiled for choice. I invite your input tonight, whether you are pro Matiang'i, pro Maraga, pro Kasalasia, pro Ruto, or whoever it is that you wish to be the CEO of this great country. While that is going on, we'll also be looking at the African continent, and Ibrahim Traore seems to be having a headway if the African presidency is anything to go by. The support and overwhelming solidarity that is enjoying with the rest of the continent, especially from the young people, is something that the whole world is not ignoring anymore. And now we'll be looking at his, moving statements in his strong stand and he has made a very strong question on the reason behind the Western push for democracy, freedom, and human rights in Africa. Is there anything more to the push of the West in Africa in the name of bringing democracy in Africa, pushing for freedom for the African people, and human rights? That is something that we'll be diving in. According to him, democracy, freedom, and human rights are excuses. The real deal for the West and their interest in Africa is carrying what belongs to Africa and make it their own. It's exploiting Africa and leaving Africa impoverished while they enjoy what should be rightfully belonging to the African people and being used for the development of Africa. I don't know what is your take on the same, and I want your input too, even as we start the conversation. The link to use to get in the studio is already in the comment section. Make haste and make sure that you come in and let us discuss this at length. We are live on Facebook, Sound Candy Talk, and YouTube, Sound Candy Talk, as well as Sound Candy Talk live YouTube channels. We are also live on TikTok, Sound Candy Talk. We appreciate everyone who is joining. Please be active in whatever platform you're following the show on, and ensure that you take charge as the leader of that particular platform in inviting as many people to join and be part of the great conversation. We are here looking at Kenya as well as the rest of Africa. And now questions are rising. The intention, the motive, the purpose behind the push of the West and their interest in Africa. Is it all about the welfare of the African people, or taking advantage of the limitations of the African people so that they can loot whatever that is remaining of Africa and keep us third world, as they call themselves, first world? What is it, and how do we handle it? Thank you very much. I really salute everyone who is joining. We appreciate every one of you. And of course, apologize. We have had issues with our net of late, and that is affecting our continuous faithful and of course consistency in holding this particular open forum show. Is because if you don't have sufficient strong network, it is not possible to hold the show, and therefore we beg for your indulgence even as we embark on the discussion, and pray that the net will not fail us even as we get down to this discussion. The Matiang'i president, what is your take on the same? I need to hear your views. I can see Esther Stoll is here, MNA is here, Tunim Hamud, our PS she's already here. Thank you so much. Na tukaribishane tuingie kwa fujo, tukazungumza masuala haya kwa kina. Hii ndio sababu yetu kuwa hapa, na umuhimu wetu kuwa hapa, naamini ni huo, sisi kuwasiliana na kusemezana, kuambiana ukweli kuhusu mambo haya. Swala nyeti hapa ni Matiang'i na of course kutaka kuwa rais. Na hayo yanapoendelea, kuna mengi tu ambayo pia yanaendelea chini ya maji. Mojawapo ni kifo cha Kasipul, anaitwa Kasipul MP, alafu hiyo kuwawa kwake kumeibua mambo mengi lakini mojawapo ni kwamba serikali iko mbio kujaribu kufunika na kujitetea hapa na pale, lakini tunaona yanayosemwa na yale yanayotendwa hayambatani. Kwa hivyo maswali imezidi. Leo hii tumeambiwa CCTV kamera imeonyesha ni nani aliyempiga risasi. Sasa tujui ni huyo ama ni mwingine tumetafutiwa tukalimbikiziwe ili tunyamaze. Unajua masuala ya kuficha ukweli katika nchi hii ni mojawapo ya nchi ambazo zinaogopwa. Kuna vile kuna mmoja jasusi ambaye alikuwa ni hatari sana kuchunguza masuala ya vifo. Alikuja hapa kuchunguza kifo cha Robert huko. Alafu akaja akaangalia masuala haya. Ilipofika karibu kutengeneza report, akaenda Dunga Beach. Inasemekana akanua hapo samaki kutesti hivi samaki ilikuwa yampeleka kwa baba direct, sio baba Raila alikuwa anakwenda mbinguni moja kwa moja. Uzuri alikuwa amebeba ile dawa yake ya kudetect kama kile kitu amekula ni kibaya. So haraka akafika mfukoni, akakunywa hiyo antidote, akakimbiza mwenyewe hospitali. Hapo ndipo aliponea chupu. Kutoka hapo Jomo Kenyatta Airport, kufika kule alikuwa ametoka, akaresign, akasema hakuna nchi kama Kenya ikifika kwa masuala ya kuchunguza masuala ya homicide, haswa kule serikali imehusika. So ni kama tumevunja rekodi kwa hiyo masuala. So ukiona mambo kiendelea hivi hayapendezi kabisa, na kile ambacho kinaniuma ni kwamba kuna kijana mmoja ambaye alikuwa shahidi kuhusu kijana mwingine aliyeuawa huko Eldoret, na ni masuala tu ya Gen Z na siasa. Sasa tena imesemekana huyo aliyekuwa shahidi alipotea Jumapili. Mwili wake tena umepatikana ameuawa. So hii ni nchi ya kufanya maovu na kuendelea kufanya maovu, kufunika hayo maovu ambayo umeyafanya. And that is why we need change by all means. Well, as we start the conversation, I need you to join the show. I'm waiting for you to come in as I get set to play the video and put up the poll question. But I really need you to weigh on this. We'll be going to and fro, back home and away from home, so that we balance everything and get also familiar with what the rest of the world is saying. What is Africa starting to lose? I'll be coming back again with the latest on the same. Thank you very much. Let's go to Kisii and find out what Matiang'i declared today as he went to his homecoming. Here we go.
Former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i has broken his silence, declaring his intention to face off with President William Ruto in the 2027 general elections. What began as a low-profile visit turned into a political spectacle as a crowd flooded the streets of Kisii, forcing authorities to divert the rally to the historic Kisii Stadium. Crispin Otieno followed events in Kisii 2 weeks after quietly returning to the country. Let's take a look at what was happening there.
Dr. Matiang'i's motorcade snaked through Kijauri, Keroka and Keumbu before arriving in Kisii town, where jubilant residents lined the streets, chanting and waving as they welcomed him. Leaders struggled to address the swelling crowd at Kisii's capital roundabout, prompting a last-minute relocation of the rally. Once at Kisii Stadium, Matiang'i finally addressed the rally.
Tukae na imani, we are a country that is built on resilience. Hizi shida zote tuko nazo hapa, tushikane sisi wote. Siku hiyo ikifika tutavuka hiyo daraja na tutaenda mbele. Mungu atatusaidia tu fix hiyo maneno ili jetu iwe sawa sawa.
He announced plans to travel across the country from Nyanza to Rift Valley, Western to Nairobi and Central to build alliances and unite like-minded leaders.
Mimi nawashukuru sana. Tushikane sisi wote pamoja, tuende safari hii, tushike kadi ya kura, tupige kura, tukae na amani na upendo. Hapa msiiti this time round tutatafuta hii kitu na mkono wa kushoto ili tuende pole tufike hapo.
Na sisi hatutatusi mtu yoyote. Tukielekea mbele, tunataka kila kabila wapate kukaa chini, tupate kupata kiongozi wetu kura hapa.
Tangu nisaliwe sijaona hii stadi imejaa kama leo. Nawapigia asante.
We love everybody in our republic. We want a good country. We want a country that is fair. Kwa sauti moja kama Oma Kisii, wanaume waonane kwa da.
Tunakuambia wamama, tunatafuta nyumba ambaye tutaishi kwa amani, ama sio?
He later visited Nyamira town, then Ekerenyo, Ikonge, and finally Chepilat, marking the end of a high-energy political homecoming. Just days ago, Matiang'i was seen attending a closed-door meeting with key opposition figures, signaling early preparations to mount a serious national campaign. Crispin Otieno, Citizen TV, Kisii.
Hivyo ndivyo masuala yalivyokuwa kule Kisii. Wengi wamejitokeza kumpokea Matiang'i alivyokuwa anatangaza azima yake ya kugombea urais katika nchi hii, na anasema yuko tayari kufanya kazi na wote ambao wako na nia kama ya kwake. Sasa mimi nataka maoni yako kwa masuala haya. Matiang'i ndio ametosha ama hajatosha, na kwa nini? Unipe hizo sababu, mimi nitakuwa tayari kushiriki na wewe na wengine wa Kenya na of course the rest of Africa on the same matter. Is Matiang'i the man for the job or what? What is your take? I need to hear what you are saying. I reserve my comments until later until I've heard everyone, and I'll give my take. But like I said, he joins the list of other hopefuls of the presidents, like Maraga, the former CJ, and then, of course, Peter Salasi also declared his own, has begun his campaign. I saw him in Busia cooking ugali. And this president seems to be not what it used to be when we were growing up. I mean, now we thank God for the 2010 Constitution and, of course, the freedoms we have. Anybody can declare he wants to be president. That was a matter of inviting problems to your door in case you try to think that you want to be president. But now we thank God for the changes and liberty multiplying, that anybody and everybody can declare they want to be president and there are no consequences thereof. So Maraga is in, Matiang'i is in, Salasia is in, of course the Kalonzo yamesema kweli. Nasubiri mnikonfirmie. Alafu kuna nani mwingine? Rigiji anasema yeye atakuwa kingmaker, hataki ufalme sahi, atakuwa kingmaker na anatengeneza barabara. May is here, he will be giving us his political party and then chart the way forward. And then of course I also had Natembea is wishing for the same, and many others that are coming. So tell me, hawa watu wote Matiang'i ndio anatosha mboga ama vipi? Niambie kwa hapo kwa comments, ama ingia kwa studio moja kwa moja ukanipe ujumbe wako na mimi nitawasilisha moja kwa moja. Naamini kwamba tuko tayari kuchambua masuala haya kwa wazi, bila kuficha na bila kuonea yeyote. Matiang'i akafumbua azma yake ya kuwa rais akiwa Kisii, na kama ilivyotarajiwa kwamba labda watu wachache tu ndio watajitokeza, umati umejitokeza, halaiki kubwa ya watu, mpaka mkutano ukalazimika kupelekwa stadium, na ni kama walikuwa wanafikiria tu watapita pita hapo Keroka wasalimia watu kadhaa, waingie Kisii town wasalimia wakipita hivyo kwenda Nyamira, lakini ikawa basi mgeni njo mwenyeji apone, ama vipi? Haya basi, niambie, hivi ndio hivyo ama tungoje mwingine? Nataka maoni yako. Kuna Johnson Kendrick anasema the key for change, Matiang'i Atiang. Hiyo ndio kufunguo wa mabadiliko. Haya basi, mambo ni kama hayo. Naftal na Imani, asante sana, karibu kwa show. Talia Bless, karibu kwa show. Nataka maoni, nipe maoni yenu kuhusu masuala haya. Ni Matiang'i tumwachie kila kitu ama tutafute mingine? Na nataka sababu. Sitaki tu maneno ya kunishabikia ama kushabikia mtu. Nataka sababu ambazo unafikiria Matiang'i anatosha ama sio Maraga ama sio nani Kalonzo. Nataka kujua kwa nini unataka Matiang'i na hautaki hawa wengine. Peter Salasa pia kwa hiyo nafasi. Hapa inasemekana Simba Omar Said anasema nyani ni wale wale kubadilisha misitu haibadilishi tabia zao watabaki manyani milele. Haya, Simba Omar Said anaona hapa ni game inachezwa kubadilisha misitu, lakini nyani ni wale wale. Wewe unaonaje mambo haya? Kutakuwa na mabadiliko na Matiang'i ama Matiang'i anakuja kuwa mlinzi wa wale ambao ni wa so-called elites that must have and drop something small for the rest of Kenyans? And that is one very important matter that we seem to be brushing over, that is indeed a serious factor to consider. If we have ever had a problem in this country, it is not necessarily the person we have for the presidents as we have the people that surround the person that we have for the presidents. The people that propel and make an individual the president seem to be holding that president hostage and make them do what they never wanted to do in the first place. And so I really want us to discuss this. Is Matiang'i free to be president of the Republic of Kenya, or is being fronted for someone? And is in him being fronted, will he be able to break free from that particular grip and be able to perform and do what Kenyans require, or he will continue being a puppet of someone else and end up serving his masters other than the masses of the long-suffering Kenyan people? I need you to tell me. The key to change in Kenya is Matiang'i. Huyo ni Johnson, anaitwa Kendrick. Haya, Kendrick, wewe unanipatia tu kufunguo, nipatie sababu pia. I need reasons why you think Matiang'i is the key and Matiang'i is the solution. I'm not opposed to Matiang'i. I'm just seeking information, and I need also to be convinced that Matiang'i is what we've been waiting for. It's important. Well, thank you very much as we continue the conversation. Thank you so much. Karibisha mtu tumakinike, namba watazamaji ipande tafadhali na kuomba. Na kama unaingia studio wai mapema tafadhali. Tusisubiri mpaka show inafika mwisho ndio tunajaja studio, mnataka kuchelewesha mambo. Mimi nataka kila mmoja awai mapema, tuseme haya mambo, tukayakamilishe kwa wakati unaofaa na tuwe na uwezo wa kumaliza pia masuala tunayozungumza. Ili swala la Ibrahim Traore kuzungumzia, nitakuwa na switch gear, lakini tutakuwa tunaenda to and fro ili tuzungumzie masuala haya wote tena kwa pamoja, ili kusikwe na yeyote ambaye anaachwa nyuma. Na swala nyeti ambalo tunazungumzia leo ni swala la kwa nini the Western powers seem not to be relenting on their interest in Africa. Their push for democracy, freedom, human rights. Is it about the African people, or is it about themselves? That's something that we must all begin to question, because haya mambo vile yanavyoendelea hayapendezi kabisa, na kwa sababu ya hiyo ni lazima tuanze kuambiana ukweli, tusianze kudanganyana huku mambo yanakwenda mrama na tunaangalia tu. So Ibrahim Traore anaongoza Afrika kwa kusema haya masuala ya kutawaliwa na wageni yakomeshwe. Kama uhuru, ukwe uhuru kweli kweli. Kama ni ukoloni, basi ijulikane ni ukoloni. Lakini usije kwamba ulitupatia uhuru wa bendera na unataka mali yote wewe ndio unasimamia, hela wewe ndio unasimamia. Na kuna mambo mengi tu hapa ambayo tutakuwa tunayaangalia. Kwa hivyo na kumatunike na tuangalie masuala haya kwa kina. So nataka uniambie Matiang'i for presidency, alafu kwa nini? Nataka kujua kwa nini. Ili tuko na sababu. Tuko na sababu. Unajua kupiga kura bila sababu ndio shida. Ni tunapiga kura kama ile tulipiga 2010 constitution. Kwa katika ile harakati ya kwamba tunaambiwa constitution mbaya usichague, lakini inaitwa nini? Ikawa ile sasa vuta ni kuvuta imesimama ya kusema nini? Lazima tufanye nini? Tupige hiyo constitution ama tuikatae. Katika hiyo hali tukaambiwa kama baba amesoma na akasema ni mbaya, inakuwa mbaya, lakini baba akisema iko sawa, inakuwa sawa. So sababu kubwa ya watu wengi kushabikia na kusimamia mtu fulani aingie kwa ofisi haikui faida ya Wakenya, haikui maendeleo ya nchi, hayakui ustawi wa nchi, yanakuwa fulani alisema kwamba fulani anatosha. Na this is one of the problems we have at the moment. Okay, thank you. There is some information. Kitonga says the mic has a lot of echoes. What would be the problem? Just a moment. Let me see if. Please confirm that. All right. As we sort that out, thank you very much for joining, and thank you, Gitonga, for that info as we try to sort that out. Simba Omar Said anasema Matiang'i hakuheshimu katiba, ameua watu kama Ruto. Mkitaka kuuliwa mchagueni Kitawaramba. Haya, manabii hao. Huyo anaitwa Omar Said anasema haya, yule mtu ambaye hakuheshimu katiba akiwa cabinet secretary, itakuwa wakati yako rais ndio atafuata katiba? Mnaambie ninyi, mimi nataka tu munifunze. Naona nani mwingine? Paul, asante sana, karibu kwa show. Thank you. I say you are okay now. Thank you very much, Gitonga, for confirming. We appreciate that. Okay, thank you. Well, let's keep going now as we continue to look at this. Omar Said is not convinced about the Matiang'i presidency. Anasema kama hakuheshimu katiba akiwa cabinet secretary, haoni akiheshimu katiba akiwa president. Na anakupatia mfano wa William Ruto. William Ruto alikuwa mtu ambaye hataki kufuata katiba, haheshimu katiba, alipinga kubadilika kwa katiba. Saa hii yuko ofisini. Ni siku gani William Ruto amefuata katiba isipokuwa wakati wa kuapishwa? Hakuna siku nyingine William Ruto amefuata katiba. Kila kitu ambacho William Ruto ameanzisha, kuanzia Hustler Fund, masuala mengi tu, okay? Hustler Fund, kuuza parastatos, nini ingine, national inaitwa ni housing fund, na hii masuala mengine yote yamekwenda kotini, yakapatikana hayambatani na katiba. So William Ruto mfano mzuri, hakuwa anafuata katiba kabla akuwe rais. Alipofanyika rais, shida kubwa ya William Ruto saa hii ni katiba. Kenya haingekuwa na katiba, kila kitu ingekuwa imeandikwa Ruto. Aya, mnaambie, mnaonaje? Omar Said anasema Matiang'i no go zone. Hawezi kuheshimu katiba, basi kukuwa rais itakuwa kisungumkuti. Anasema Kitawaramba. Haya, tuambieni wewe unaonaje mambo haya? Nashukuru kila mmoja anayejiunga nasi. The more people are joining, thank you so much. Please keep sharing the link. Keep sharing the link. Invite more people to come in and be part of the great conversation. So I want us to go to West Africa. And one of the things that is happening in West Africa and now spreading to South Africa is the Ibrahim Traore's effect of letting the West know that they will no longer have their say in the dark continent of Africa. And the latest is Malawi has now joined Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso in saying our minerals will no longer be controlled by foreigners. All the licenses that have been given have been revoked. So, new way of doing business with Africa. No more ferrying of our raw material, paying us peanuts, and carrying the wealth that is supposed to be spent on our African people on a foreign land. And so many claims arising from this. So I want us to look into that even as we continue with the conversation. And of course, as I try to set up the poll question, I had left it out. But I invite everybody, let's be on the forefront in sharing this. So let's look at that story of Malawi, and then, of course, Traore's stand on the issue of democracy, freedom, and human rights. Are they only violated in Africa? And should the West be the supervisor of how democratic we become, or how undemocratic we become, on how many freedoms we enjoy or no freedoms, or how many human rights abuses are taking place in Africa? Let's talk. Thank you so much for being here. Let's look into this matter, and then when we come back, we break it down. Na kama unaingia studio, wai mapema tafadhali. Jakindu Bay, leo tunazungumza masuala ya demokrasia. Wewe umesema sana, hii demokrasia sio yetu. Na tuachana vitu visivyokuwa vyetu. Tujitafutie mfumo wetu ambao tumeutengeneza wenyewe ambao unafaa sisi kama Waafrika. Nikipenda maoni yako kwa masuala haya. So let's watch this as we continue to analyze our situation in Africa, and then of course back home here in Kenya. Thank you.
In a groundbreaking decision that has sent shockwaves across Africa, Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has joined the ranks of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger in a decisive move to ban the export of minerals from his country. The Malawian government has frozen exports of gemstones and other precious minerals and halted the issuance of new mineral export licenses. This drastic action is part of a broader effort to reform the mining sector, ensuring that Malawi gains full control over its vast mineral wealth, rather than allowing foreign corporations to reap disproportionate benefits. The southern African nation is endowed with significant mineral deposits, including uranium, rubies, and sapphires. However, unlike its neighbors, Malawi has yet to fully capitalize on these resources for national development. Mining Minister Joseph Makandawire, in a strongly worded statement on Facebook, justified the export ban, stating, "This measure has been taken in order to sanitize the mining sector as the ministry undertakes reforms to bring efficiency and transparency in mineral rights administration." The ban takes effect immediately and will remain in place until further notice, the Ministry of Mining confirmed in an official statement. One might ask, what has triggered this sudden policy shift? Are African leaders finally drawing inspiration from Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, countries that have recently taken a stand against foreign exploitation of their natural wealth? To answer these critical questions, we must analyze the recent developments in these nations and how Malawi's decision fits into this broader movement. Malawi's ban follows a directive from Vice President who ordered a 21-day review of all existing mining contracts. This move is part of a larger trend in which African nations are reassessing deals that have historically favored multinational corporations at the expense of local economies. The Malawian government has also been engaged in a high-stakes battle with Columbia Gem House, a US-based gemstone company, over unpaid taxes and royalties. Since mid-2022, the government has demanded more than $309 billion from the company for rubies extracted over the past decade. The allegations are damning. Nyala Mines Limited, a Columbia Gem House subsidiary, reportedly paid a mere $600 in taxes despite generating an estimated $4 billion in revenue from Malawian rubies. To put this into perspective, the amount claimed from Columbia Gem House is nearly 30 times Malawi's annual GDP, according to the International Monetary Fund, IMF. This is a glaring example of how foreign corporations have been enriching themselves while leaving Malawians in poverty. Honestly, when I learnt this, I become sad and very angry. This is a crucial moment for the nation. With nearly 75% of its 24 million citizens living in extreme poverty, Malawi cannot afford to continue exporting its resources for a pittance while its people struggle to survive. The decision to freeze mineral exports is not just an economic measure, it is an assertion of sovereignty. Malawi's move mirrors the revolutionary policies adopted by Niger, Burkina Faso and Mali, where new leadership has taken aggressive steps to regain control over their natural wealth. A particularly striking example is Niger, where the new military leadership under General Abdurrahmane Chiani ousted the previous regime after discovering how the West had been plundering its resources. Documents have surfaced revealing that Niger's former government signed contracts granting only 5% royalties on uranium sales, an outrageously low figure for one of the world's largest uranium producers. In a now famous video, the late Wagner PMC leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, exposed how French companies were selling Nigerian uranium for $200 per kilogram, while Niger itself was receiving a mere 0.80 mol per kilogram. To put this into perspective, Canada sells its uranium for the full market price, yet Niger's wealth was essentially being stolen, with the country receiving only a fraction of its true value. This is not just exploitation, it is outright economic warfare. For those who may not understand the significance of what Malawi is doing, it is important to draw historical parallels. The decision by Niger's junta, and now Malawi's government, follows a path once taken by Libya's Muammar Gaddafi, who sought to unite Africa under a self-sufficient economic system independent of Western exploitation. We all saw how the West responded to Gaddafi's ambitions, with military intervention and regime change. The question now is, will other African leaders follow Malawi's example, or will external forces attempt to pressure Chakwera's administration into reversing this decision? History has shown that when African nations take bold steps to reclaim their resources, they often face intense economic, political, and even military pushback from global powers that
Okay, there you have it. Malawi, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso will not have any of the exploitation that has been taking place for over 60 years now since our independence. What's going on? And will this be the final nail that covers the coffin of the West influence in Africa? Or is the beginning of an endless war that will persist because of the economic imbalances that have been taking place all along? And I need to hear what is your take on the same. Are you in support of what is for Africa to be left for Africans, or you trust that the foreigners will take care of what belongs to us better for us than we can do for ourselves? Different schools of thoughts, same circumstances around the world. Let me know what you think about the whole scenario. Okay, back here inasemekana huyu anaitwa Mundumezi Bie anasema Kisii imeenda, Western pia inaenda, Coast ishaenda, ODM itabaki some county of Nyanza. Okay, sijui inatoka wapi na Kisii imeenda wapi? Kisii imerelocate kutoka Nyanza ama unamaanisha nini? Western nayo ikahama ikaingia Uganda. Coast ime cross over ikaenda Tanzania. Ama ni kipi hiki unachosema? Unajua sitaki kuingilia siasa za ODM, lakini ODM imekuwa hapa 20 years. Walikuwa wanasherehekea miaka 20. I think a month ago or something. And so kumaliza ODM sio rahisi, na sisemi kwamba lazima ODM iwe ndio chama cha pekee, lakini ni muhimu tu, kama Kenya ni multi-party democracy, tuwe na vyama ambavyo vinadumu na vyama ambavyo vitakuwa vya kutegemewa. Lakini kama tukifuata huu mkondo wa kwamba kila kabila likuwe na chama na chama ni chama kwa sababu kinaongozwa na mtu wa kabila lenu, basi hiyo inaitwa ukabila, haitwi vyama vya kisiasa tena. Na hiyo ndio kitu ambacho siesi mimi kushabikia. Naamini katika national party, and I want nationalism to have precedence over any other reason for belonging to any political party. And so Kisii is not the first time for, if they want to go on their own. There is 40 people. 2002, don't forget history. 2002, they went with Nyachai and 40 people, and what happened? The rest of the country went elsewhere. And so maswala ni mengi, lakini ni muhimu tuambiane ukweli. Hapa sio kuchimbana na kusema kwamba fulani ameisha na fulani amerudi. Nataka tuangalie Kenya na kipi ambacho kinafaa katika uongozi wa Kenya. Unajua kuna mambo mengi tu ambayo huwa inachukua muda wetu wakati ambapo tunapaswa kuangalia masuala haya ambayo ni nyeti. Na ili swala nauliza na nitaendelea kuuliza mpaka nipate jibu, kwa sababu tumekuwa hapa kwa muda. Okay? Maswala ya wewe kushabikia mtu bila sababu ama bila sababu za kutosha, kwamba huyo mtu ndo anafaa kuwa rais, huyo mtu ndo anafaa kuwa kiongozi. Nataka unipatie sababu ambazo zitani convince kwamba Matiang'i anatosha na fulani hatoshi, na kwa sababu ya hii na hii na hii. Lakini kusema tu baba alisema ama fulani alisema ama watu wengi wamesema ama Gen Z wameamua. Mimi nataka sababu za kutosha. Hapa anaitwa nani? Omar Said anasema kama mtu akuheshimu katiba akiwa CS, hawezi kuheshimu katiba akiwa rais. Na kama hatujajifunza kutokana na William Ruto, basi tumjaribu Matiang'i, atatuonyesha. So wewe unaambie kwa nini unasema Matiang'i anatosha. Johnson Ken Derrick anasema something. Anasema Matiang'i brought positive change and electronic service in every ministry he served. All the positive changes have all died after he left. That's education, lands, passport control, registry, one day. Okay. He brought positive changes in all the ministries that he had served. He said electronic services in every ministry he served. That's transformative leadership. I agree with you. And that must not be forgotten to be a policy that is formulated by a ministry and carried out by the in-charge minister. That in itself does not necessarily mean it was Matiang'i's brainchild. It could be the president's brainchild, and Matiang'i ni mfanyikazi wa rais, sio anaenda kutekeleza yale ambayo rais amesema. Na hiyo ndio tumepewa hapa na Ruto. Okay? Wakati Ruto alikuwa deputy president, alituambia yeye ndio anaongoza serikali. Akasema rais ni mlevi, hakuna kitu anajua. Mimi ndio nafanya mambo yote yatendeke. Akalonji barabara, akalonji sijui nini, akalonji sijui nini. Watu wakamwamini kwamba kumbe hii ndio engine. Huyu mwingine ni mlevi tu, hakuna kitu anachokifanya. Haya, akapewa sword, akapewa katiba, akapewa Biblia. Miaka ndio hizi 3. Kipi ambacho kimefanyika chini ya uongozi wa William Ruto wakati amepewa steering? Okay? Akiwa conductor tulikuwa na kelele. Nini na nini. Kila mtu alisema huyu conductor analilia tu kitu kimoja, apewe udereva. Akipewa udereva ataendesha hii inji. Hii inji itakuwa first world. Haya. Dereva akashuka, Makanga akachukua nafasi ya uongozi. Ni kipi kimebadilika? Nataka unaambie kama kweli mtu akiwa shupavu, akiwa minister, akiwa deputy president, ama akiwa kitu atakuwa hivyo hivyo wakati anafanyika rais. Ningependa uniconvince kwa hilo, pia tusonge mbele tunapoangalia masuala haya. Okay, John Derek bado anasema it is Ruto and his group who are killing people for political gain. The bodies were taken to Yala to politically kill Raila. Haya, basi mambo ndio hayo. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike katika kutekeleza mambo haya. Nani huyu? Nakuambia kuna mambo hapa. Alright, Makandates anasema nini hapa? Okay, Matiang'i last known residence Kisii moto. Okay. Haya, hilo wewe utakuja kunichambulia nilielewe vizuri. Alright, Simba Omar Said anasema marais wa Afrika wachukue mfano kutoka kwa Traore, wafanye kazi, watu wake sio kufanya kazi wazungu muumize watu wake. Okay, sio kufanyia kazi wazungu mkiumiza watu wake. Very important point here. And I was talking about that. The people that make the person the president can hold the person hostage and make him unable to deliver. Not because he can't deliver, but because he's under siege. Remember the former IG for Police Inspector General, alikuwa anaitwa nani? Kasema so under siege. So the presidency can be under siege, whereby he wants to do right, but he can't because the powers that be can't let him do what he wishes to do. And so that is why I want us to get a president who we can own, a president we can command, a president that is going to act in our interest, not a president who has been hired by the West, sponsored by the West, funded by the West, only for him to end in the office and turn around and turn against the Kenyan people. We have this example here already. Will we draw lessons from the Ruto presidents not to repeat our mistake, or we want to perpetuate the mistake and continue living in slavery when we claim to be independent? That's what I need you to respond to. And I still invite you. Kuja studio ukaseme yako. Kuna Douglas Kibogong hapa anasema one day Omtata, next Morara, Matiang'i. Who is next? Huyu naye ana imani kabisa. Kiwanja kimefunguka. Mbona kwanza hujahesabu Salasia? You are not taking Salasia serious. Anasema napendwa na Gen Z na wa Gen Z watamfanya rais. Wewe unaonaje mambo haya? Asante lakini kwa ku participate kwa show. Thank you very much. Mndumezi anasema Bernard shida si ODM lakini Raila kushikana na Ruto ameshisha inamaanisha ameshusha umaarufu wa ODM. Sasa kama watu kama kina Orengo, Anyang'o wakubaliani na Raila kufanya kazi na Ruto, je, wafuasi wa ODM watafata Raila? Hapo ndio nakwambia unatumia kigezo ambacho kwangu mimi si cha kweli, kwa sababu ODM ina uongozi, na huo uongozi wa ODM sio Raila Odinga peke yake. Na kama vile nimesema hapa, kuna wing mbili katika ODM. Kuna Flower Girls ambao wanasindikiza William Ruto kule William Ruto anataka kwenda, alafu kuna vigogo wenyewe wenye chama. Nakumbuka Anyang'o ni alikuwa acting party leader while Baba was in Addis, okay? And then of course Sifuna is Secretary General. Arati is deputy party leader. Anaitwa nani? Osotsi, deputy party leader. And then Nasir from the coast. Now, those are the key leaders. There is that what is called NEC of ODM. Listen to what they are saying, not what the Flower Girls are saying and the other people who are escorting. On the other hand, the decisions on which political party people run on is yet to be established. But Matiang'i mesemekana amechukuliwa na Jubilee. So kama Matiang'i atakuwa kwa Jubilee, watu watampigia kura kutokana na Jubilee. Na Jubilee kama itakuwa ni chama, tunataka ikuwe national party, not a village party. And then of course pia tunangoja ya Wamnyoro, okay? Tutajua kama hiyo itakuwa ya kubeba kila mtu ama itakuwa kubeba sehemu moja ya nchi. Lakini kwangu mimi nataka vyama ambavyo ni vya kila Mkenya, sio chama ambacho ni cha mtu ama chama cha kabila, kwa sababu vyama vya ukabila ndio zinatuletea shida. Na nimesema masuala ya kupigia mtu kura kwa sababu uliambiwa upigie fulani, alafu baadaye unasema ulidanganya, baadaye unasema ulikuja sijui kasema nini tukakuamini. Hiyo ndio mimi sitaki. Nataka tupigie mtu kura kutokana na umaarufu wa huyo mtu na umahiri wa huyo mtu na faida ya huyo mtu kwa nchi. Si eti our region imeamua ni fulani tunapigia. Nataka kila mtu awajibike na decision. Wakati unachagua mwizi, unamweka kwa ofisi, you should be accountable for that thief. Whoever you elect, when you go to that ballot box, you need to stand by that name for the rest of the term. But if you go to experiment with the livelihood of Kenyans because of the numerous votes that you can harness because of your region and all that, you say you made this one president, you made this one president, and then eventually it turns into something else. Then you turn around and say, we made a mistake. Now we want to change. We are going to make this other person. No. Let us have serious reasons why we want a particular person to be leading in the helm of power in this great country. Well, let's keep going as we engage, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Tuendelee kukaribishana. Hiyo namba ya watazamaji inapanda ikishuka, sijui kuna nini. Okay. All right, there is another information here by Fabiano. Anasema filmmakers arrested. Nicholas Gishuki, Brian Adagala, Mark Karubiu, among 4 documentary makers police have arrested from the studio in Karen under unclear circumstances. Now, this is unconfirmed information, but there is something very wrong with this country right now. The aspect of abductions and disappearance of people seems not to be going down. And that is one of the things that I think should be causing unrest in the MOU between ODM and UDA, because this agreement was meant to end all these things. So why are people still being arrested? Why are people still disappearing? Why are people still being abducted? And so we really need answers to these issues. And William Ruto needs to take, to take his time and understand this country, understand the constitution of this country, and be able to govern this country in its diversity. Not for him to try and baptize this country into Rutoism. It is not going to work. This is Kenya. This is not Uganda. He should just appreciate it, that we have a free country, people with a free mind and a free understanding. They believe in what they believe. And so this aspect of trying to control the media, control social media, control people's thinking, control people's talking, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. You better concentrate on making what makes this country tick. And that is harness the wealth of the country into its development, into its progress, and not waste time chasing after everyone. Are you going to arrest all of us and feel as in which committee? So please, I think this is backward. We don't need it. We don't need it. Chasing people, following people, and wanting to silence everybody. It's not how a country is governed. Oh, now it is keep the presidents at all costs? No. Something needs to happen. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is a very sad reality. And I'm happy Fabiano brought that up, and we'll be able to get more details on the same. But this issue of people disappearing, people being abducted, I was telling you about the young man who was found dead again in the river, having been a witness in a case where he witnessed a police kill another one. This is not going on well. And we need to retaliate these things. We need, get angry with these things. Let's not brush them off and, treat them as if they are nothing. Every life matters. Every life matters. And this aspect of people losing lives in the hands of police officers need to stop. It needs to be brought to an end. And we better get that done. We better get that done and stop all these games altogether. If we're a free country, we need to be free. And the people governing us need to be free before they get into governance. This business of getting people who are, torn between so many things and putting them in the office of in the seat of responsibility when they are not responsible enough to take care of each and every other person's welfare, this ought to be brought to an end. And so I really want to get us to think we can't continue like this. Okay, nani huyu? Okay, namuona Mkora ameingia. Subiri hapo tunakuja kwako. Kuna Morara Aruto blogger. His body language speaks by itself. Now that's another angle of things in this country. Wanasema kama fisi anataka kula wanao, ataanza kusema mbona wananukia kama mbuzi. There is something that is becoming a pattern in our politics, whereby we castigate and brand people to be pro of so and so, simply because we don't believe in the ideology or their style of operations. To me, I think we need more information, and we need to give some things time before they materialize. And so Fabiano's story works very well with this story. Let me just mix the two so that we close that and then continue with the geopolitics of Africa and in relation to Kenya and Matiang'i's quest for presidency. Let's get back shortly after this video.
Shahidi wa mauaji ya kijana mmoja huko Eldoret County ya Uasin Gishu amepatikana ameuawa. Mwili wa kijana huyo aliyekuwa ameripotiwa kupotea Jumapili iliyopita baada ya kupigwa na kutekwa na watu wasiojulikana ulipatikana katika mto wa Sosian, County ya Uasin Gishu. Samuel Ngoko anasemekana kushuhudia mauaji ya kijana mwingine anayedaiwa kurushwa mtoni na afisa wa polisi. John Wanyama anaarifu zaidi.
Ndiyo hali ilivyokuwa katika hospitali ya rufaa na mafunzo ya Moi jijini Eldoret, kaunti ya Uasin Gishu. Familia ya Samuel Ngoko ilikubikwa na biwi la simanzi na kusalia ikibubujikwa na machozi. Taarifa za kupatikana kwa mwili wake katika makafani hospitali hiyo zikiwakata maini.
Ni uchungu yake mtoto wangu haki. Siniona watoto wawili tu peke yake haki. Mndinamea haki, mngenisamea haki, mngenitupia tu mahali haki. Ni kitu yenye nimeona amebadilishwa viatu yenye siku kwa ile alikuwa amevaa hiyo siku kutoka nyumba viatu ya white, lakini sasa hivi yote nyumbani ya black. Na hiyo viatu yenye pale tulikuwa tumeacha hapo opposite kwa Mishira.
Mwili wake Samuel ulipatikana katika mto wa Sosiani ukiwa na majeraha mabaya usoni. Aidha, marehemu alikuwa amedungwa kisu mara kadhaa mwilini.
Ndaliaje. Nitafanyaje ndaliaje serikali? Wapi mtoto wangu analetwa mpaka moja hadi. Nimeona uchungu. Naipile mtoto wangu amenyongwa. Mtoto wangu amedungwa visu haki. Mtoto wangu
Kwa mujibu wa wanaharakati wa kutetea haki za kibinadamu, kuna genge la mwanasiasa linalowahangaisha wakazi katika mtaa huo wa Kipkaren. Madai kuhusu wanasiasa hao kulindwa na polisi yakiibuliwa.
Hii group watu wanaogopa kusema, tutasema leo. Hii group ni group ya mwanasiasa katika Uasin Gishu County Assembly. Tusidanganyane, tunasema mara sijui ni polisi wa mahusika ama na mahusika. We have a gang ambaye polisi wana protect.
Samuel anaripotiwa kushuhudia unyama aliofanyiwa kijana mmoja eneo hilo ambaye anadaiwa kurushwa mtoni na afisa wa polisi. Kijana mwingine aliripotiwa kutoweka na kuchukuliwa na watu wasiojulikana katika mtaa huo wa Kipkaren jana usiku. John Wanyama, runinga ya Citizen, kaunti ya Uasin Gishu.
Mambo ni kama hayo. Nchi yetu imekuwa vitu vingine tu, na watu wamekuwa hayawani. Hakuna kudhamini maisha, haswa maisha ya vijana. Nchi inaendelea kutokomea ni ile ambayo inageuka kuanza kuua vijana. I mean, even in the heat of war, you don't kill children. You don't kill the youth because they are the future. I don't understand what's going on. And so we need to rethink as a people. Are we all right? Mkenya Mkora, hali vipi?
Salama baba, vipi?
Niko mzima nashukuru, karibu.
Unanifanya nisimame kwa highway huku nianze kunini. Unajua nimetoka kwa nini Fred Matiang'i. Na umesoma hiyo kitu vibaya bwana. Kwani ulisahau kusoma Kizungu? My comment, you butchered it.
Mwalimu wa Kizungu ndio ulichukua. Sasa
ama alikuwa maternity time yako.
Mwalimu wa Kizungu alikuwa anaitwa Matiang'i. So wewe unaniandikia kuhusu Matiang'i. Na unajua walimu wa Kizungu wa What did you say? That's why I brought you in to come and say it yourself.
Nilikuwa nimesema Bernard, I'm tuned in. It's good to see you. I'm tuned in from Matiang'i's last known residency, Kisii, Moto. That's even though ungeisoma bwana, umeisoma hata nikakata ni kama si watu waelewi bwana. But anyways Bernard, it's always good to see you. I'm appreciative to see you, sir. It's a big thing that you do, and all the channels, our sister channels and everything, to come up and speak about these things, because like you know, one of Staki kutaja mtu said if the wind blows, hata ukieka mabati haitaacha kublow. Hata ukieka ukuta bado the wind will still blow. You can't stop it, regardless what you do. it's been a fruitful 2 weeks today, or 1.5 week, of very kind of funny and different kind of situation. I mean, different way of looking at the happenings of our country. And Bernard, me, I'm a happy man. There are some things that I might not like, or I might not advocate for, but maybe might support. You're seeing a wave that is unstoppable. It doesn't matter what you do. I don't care if you go bury the Pope. Even the candle will not light. Okay? Even the candle, when you're going to bury the Pope, the candle will, yours purposely, yours will not light. Now we go back to the police thing. Like there's a video there, I don't know, nitakutumia badama if I get home because I had to stop somewhere on the highway. There's a video of a lady, they were protesting there in LD. The lady jumping na naruka mtaro amefuatwa na makarao. Okay, there's another one, karao amekataa kukopeshwa sukari. Sijui kama umeona hiyo. Alafu kesho yake wanakujia huyo mwenye duka ati wewe una expose government. What government are we talking about? Bernard, the whole thing goes back to this government has no credentials. It doesn't matter what they do. And it's so funny that you see people are very happy on some things when some things that used to be vitu za watu kuhurumia na kufanya nini is now you see people actually celebrating them. Bernard, is the social fabric, what we've been saying, the social geoeconomical, everything, the fabric is torn. And when it's torn, people have to start. Kitambaa hiki katikati, Bernard, lazima ujue utaanza kuishonea wapi. Sasa ndio watu wanaanza kujua, hii kitambaa imekatika na lazima tuanze kuishona. Tunaanzia wapi? Lakini mali tunaanzia na wenye tunaanza nao, wanaanza na ile sim, if you did home science, the hard sim, wanachapa kuchapa ikiendanga. Bernard, I was talking to a police officer today, a friend of mine who's a police officer, alikuwa akiniambia aki mimi sitaki kuvaa uniform. Watu watupendi. The MPs, the people in the government, hawatakikani, hakuna mtu anataka. So now going back now to Ghana and Traore, what is happening to, can you see a denominator of what is happening to Africa? The whole of Africa have been waiting for the last 2 weeks. No president of Africa has even tried to talk back to the West. Because the citizens don't want to hear anything about the West. So what would you tell me? Wouldn't this be a Damascus moment? You're a priest. This is a Damascus moment for Africa. And is coming by force, by fire. And we are going to expose. There was a judge that actually has decided that if you're going to arrest somebody, you have to have a uniform and number on your uniform. So we're not going to play these games. Both diaspora and both Kenyans who are in Kenya. The media will have to shape up too. News have to be reported as they are. You're not going to be called from somewhere and told not to report something. You see what Spice TV is doing, they are going against it. Aki au na wahurumia sana. You know, sisi wengine tunafanya huko kwingine hatuko kwa mainstream. And that is the thing that has helped. And these phones, Bernard have been saying this for a long time. This time will come. I don't know what you think. And when you see people celebrating the death of an MP, telling them, "What are you crying?" People die world over, everywhere, and we move on, reminding them exactly what they're saying. I saw another person say, "See, he's still alive, right?" People who follow this thing, they know who they are talking about. Because Ruto, that was the time the guy that was shot 9 times, a kid. And then Ruto is asking, he's still alive, right? So guys are asking even that. So basically the whole wave is a wind that is going to be solved by Africans. And it's not just Kenya. Kenya is wamelegea to Ghana, Traore, Burkina Faso. Those guys already saw what Kenya had seen before we got idiots in power. Because we had seen that, and that's why we were being called the capital of Africa. Kuna Afrika na kuna Kenya. Remember that song? So, and that was done by Tanzanians. So basically, Bernard, I'm telling you, any Kenyan, and I'm sorry for kama kuna mtu amepoteza life yake, but ama life ya mtu wa karibu, I'm sorry for that. But when you look at it, Bernard, I think we're in the right track. Kisii, wacheni Matiang'i alete shida huku aeke ajaze street. Ruto will be there tomorrow. Aiziona hiyo kitu iende tu hivyo. He will go to Kisii. I'm telling you, will be in Kisii to go and demystify that is the raining. Na ataleta watu huko hata wa kutoka sijui kutoka wapi. Bernard, mark my words. Watu wenye wanatuwatch, mark my words. Bernard, Kisii, Ruto anakuja is the next stop. But I don't think kuna mtu hata anajali. Bernard, let me pause at that place. Wacha nifike kwa hao, but I'm listening to you. I hope watu wengine wakuje, but I hope you get the gist of where I am going. Kenya and Africa in general has changed. And if you feel you can still stick in that waheshimiwa thing, I'm sorry, my friend. Saizi hata hatutaki kwa hizo we don't want those seats. It's a risk in our lives. Wakae huko.
We kuja ukuwe mheshimiwa basi. Nashukuru kila mmoja, naomba asante sana Mato, na fanya hima kufika nyumbani mapema kabla tufungashe. Kama utafika mapema basi karibu tena. And I agree with you, the wind is blowing and is blowing in a particular direction, but for us to make the most of that wind, we must harness it. The goodness of the waterfalls and the profiting of the wind, what are they called? What is called green energy. It's when that green energy is harnessed and given required direction in order for it to deliver what it's supposed to deliver. And so it is good for us to get working alongside the wind, but making maximum use of the same wind for the profiting of the people of this particular continent. And so the Matiang'i factor is there. And then I don't want it to take over our reasoning. I don't want it to take over our questioning. That is my main agenda here. I really want us to soberly critically look at each and every presidential candidate and look at the country critically, the state of the country, and which hands is Kenya safe in, so that by the time you're going to cast the ballot, we are aware of what we are doing. I don't want us to move with the euphoria and move with the somebody said, so and so said, so and so told me to. No, we need to be responsible enough to cast the vote to rightful people because of their capacity to deliver and, of course, their competence. And so I don't want us not to put everyone, to fail to put everyone in the scale simply because somebody has said he has tested and he knows the person. We want to know the person firsthand, and we want to vote for that particular person because we know they can deliver. This country is in a bad place, and we need better leadership than what we are having. Interesting matter saying William Ruto will be in Kisii. I'll be waiting to see that. And of course, William Ruto being who he is, a reaction in almost everything he does. I would not be surprised if I see him in Kisii tomorrow or the day after, trying to undo what Matiang'i has launched out. But in my opinion, something drastic must take place in this country. The political class seems to be blind about what is going on in the country, and they think they are going to have business as usual. We may just fail to have business as usual by reason of how Kenyans are feeling and thinking about the situation. Now, back on that story of that young man being killed and dumped in the river. We are becoming inhuman with every passing day. And that is why Nani's talking about how people are mourning the dead. We no longer respect the dead, and we no longer, feel anything. And that to me is a huge problem. It's a huge problem, because we as somebody shared in our WhatsApp group, a complaint by school teachers, and they say they are not able to handle the what are they called, alpha children, these children that have been babysat by tablets, iPads, and electronic gadgets. And so it's one of the challenge that the teachers are facing in handling these children is that they are not empathetic, they are not sensitive, they are just like stone. They don't feel anything for anyone because they have been raised by gadgets, and gadgets don't feel. So these people are not like when we were raised by, this is my grandmother, this is my auntie, this is my uncle. So you had that orientation of minding the other person, caring about the other person. But these people have been sat by the screen which is lifeless, has been taking care of the younger lives. And so they have developed an attitude towards life, and they think you don't need to care about anybody. And so when we become hardened as far as caring about somebody and caring about human life, we will end up finishing each other. Yes, we'll end up finishing each other. And so I really want to invite us into a serious outlook on this matter. The country is not in a good place. And having people who don't care about human life, they don't care about who they kill. And especially when we concentrate on killing the younger people, leaving the elderly, mourning and burying their children. This is too bad. And so we need to turn around. We need to turn around, and we need to do it very fast. Mtoto akikosea arekebishwe. That's why we had something called approved school. Okay, the parents of the past and the leaders of the past did everything in safeguarding the younger people. What has gone wrong with us that we don't think twice, and we're exterminating young men? What's going on in our mind? What happened to reprimanding people and just, giving them due punishment and preserving them for the future? The soul of this country it leaves a lot to be desired. And so I really want us to seriously consider this. Don't play games. This matter may just land us in a place we don't want to go. Johnson anasema, you said changes were ministry changes. Why are they not working after it did exactly what I'm saying. Formulation. When a new minister comes in, he comes up with his own policies and is able to channel policies the way he wishes. I'm not necessarily saying that Matiang'i did not perform. He was outstanding, and in every ministry he went, maybe except in internal security where there were those excesses of the issues of dead bodies and things like that. But Matiang'i was exemplary as far as his performance were. But what we are saying is he was acting on orders. He was carrying out instructions. He was working under somebody, which to me doesn't disqualify you as a leader. But for Matiang'i making decisions and carrying out those decisions, we are yet to test that kind of Matiang'i. And of course, his influence. Influence meaning the people he was working with. How many still want to work with him? How much influence did he have on the teachers? How much influence did he have on the positive influence, for that matter, on the people that worked with him? Those are the factors I'm thinking about. But you know, when Zakayo and team took over the governance of the country, they did away with everything everything that Uhuru Kenyatta had established. And that is the main problem that we are suffering in this country. If it was plug and play, if we would have had a smooth transition, like, for example, key ministries should not have been changed, or the minister should not have been changed, we'll have had a smooth sailing and probably a takeoff that would have been faster. But for William Ruto coming into office and doing away with everything simply because it was Azimio, simply because it was Uhuru Kenyatta, simply because he didn't like it, see where we are. We are back into the starting point, and even worse off than we were when we are starting. And this is not supposed to be happening when we have credible leadership. And so it is bad news if we don't weigh people in the balance and be, what is it called? And of course, be keen in ensuring that these people we are giving responsibility to are able to handle this responsibility, especially carrying the country. Don't leave the country in the hands of somebody we don't know. It's important. Let's think seriously. You don't take your child and leave it with anybody. Ati niliona mama mwingine akipita karibu na nyumba yangu, nikamuita, nikamwachia mtoto, nimeenda job. You don't do that. And so let's be serious on this one. Tuache maneno ya kushabikia siasa ya chama, siasa ya mtu. Tuangalie vizuri nchi inakaaje, nani anataka kuiongoza, anafaa na kwa nini anafaa. Si eti kila mtu anamtaka. Anaweza kuwa anatakiwa na kila mtu, lakini ni mbaya bado. Kumbuka Baraba alichaguliwa na watu wengi, Yesu akasulubiwa. Mkora, unasemaje wewe?
Umeniguza nikasimama tena. Now, Bernard, you and our viewers, people need to understand, and I know a lot of them will agree with me. Bernard, let me tell you, it's kind of like, remember when we started talking about Wamunyoro, we said, yes, he's guilty as charged, but we want him. The enemy of your enemy is your friend. Okay? The enemy of your enemy is your friend. Wamunyoro ni rafiki yetu. Is there anyone here listening that anaweza chagua Wamunyoro even hata tuweke because nimeambiwa ma constitutionalist, kuna watu wananiandikiaga wanaambia you're too much of a constitutionalist, but it's still the constitution is still the covenant of how we live together. But today Wamunyoro akasimama, kuna mtu atamchagua. I can almost bet you not. Constitution hafai kuchaguliwa because alisha impeachiwa. Hiyo ni chapter whatever. 6 na kuendelea. Haya, Matiang'i na yeye ako na vitu zake za kuanza a lot, because he oversaw something that actually we are still fighting with. So he doesn't go scot-free. Okay? So it's not hata tunataka Matiang'i, ni uchokozi wa Kenya, wamekuwa na uchokozi. Anything that is against Ruto and against the government, that is what it is. I'm telling you, hata watu wamejaa hapo kwa stadium, hakuna mtu atachagua Matiang'i hapo. Kenyans are yearning for a new overhaul. They don't care about Kalonzo. They don't care about Raila. They don't care about anything that has a name. Goes back to my mosquito case. If a mosquito today come and says, I'm running either 2026 according to Piki Piki Ponki, which is true, or 2027, either way, Wakenya wataki kuona mtu mwenye. There's very few chosen people wenye Wakenya wanaweza sema tunaweza rudisha. Na kuambia hii ni kufagia yote. You think ile ya Rainbow ilikuwa kufagia? Hii itafagiliwa yote mzima. Bernard, my pastor, I'm telling you, watu wataenda nyumbani. Hata kwanza wale waongeangi kwa nini kwa parliament, wenye wanasemanga speaker ndio hawapatii time na wajaiongea, watapotea wote kabisa kabisa. Some people, Bernard, I want to give a free advice to some of the people that actually get access to the parliament presence. I want to tell them to remember what they went to college for or what they went to school for and start applying for work. Wanze ku apply majob. Ukilemewa na ujai practice kitu yenye uliendea shule, unasemanga ulienda Nairobi University for, please anza kuongea na Bernard uone kama anaweza kuweka ukue cameraman wake, because wote wanaenda Bernard, and that's where Kenya is.
Wacha kutishia watu maisha. Wacha kutishia watu maisha. Political is a career. A lifetime career.
You cannot be a politician career, bwana. Public service. I started saying this 4 years ago.
We will open consultants office. Consultants.
Sasa mmoja anachapwa peke yake, kwa nini dereva hakuchapwa na bodyguard hakuchapwa? How walienda scot free? Bernard, I'm telling you.
Sienda.
Okay, sitaenda hapo, nime-retract. Ama unataka kunitoa kwa answered?
No, I agree with you that the political class right now, they are too blind and they seem to be in a deep sleep. Some of it at times I feel like is God given. Nakumbuka ile time Mungu alituma usingizi kwa army ya Sauli. Wakati wameenda kutafuta David and they slept. David
the Tower of Babel yenye watu hawakuelewana wakakisha gorofa huko juu ikaanguka.
No, deep sleep is where you are not aware of what is going on when you are in the really place where everything is happening. And so it appears that there is a deep sleep on the political class in the country. They don't seem to be getting the pulse of the country and the pulse of the people. And the anger of the people is multiplying with every passing day against them. And they are not doing anything to counter it in terms of seeking reconciliation or seeking a truce. And that can only be divine because these politicians are very sensitive to the ground. How can they be oblivious of what the ground is saying? And they are going on and time is running out and they seem not to be waking up to the fact. This can only be supernatural.
You know, but Bernard, even us as Kenyans, we have to wake up because now we are in 2025. So assuming we get to our elections come in 2027, assuming we get there. Next year, half of next year is gonna be campaigning. They are gonna be good unto us. They are gonna play by the ground. All of them. Everybody, Bernard ukienda uonge kitu, if this channel says something and everybody seems to be moving towards that direction, they will join that side. This is the time to learn them. This is the time to pinpoint them. If you have a notebook, our listeners, take a notebook and start listening to who's saying what. Well, they feel there's nowhere you can take them. That's the time to get them, because they're gonna be very nice to you and everything. And then after that, atakuuliza, we kijana unaniongelesha kama nani? Ama nimedanganya Bernard, we ni mtumishi wa Mungu.
So mimi nauliza, are we going in this election to punish or to elect?
No, this is a punishment. Hii ni kiboko bwana. Hata sisi tulipigwa shule bwana. This is a punishment here too. We are not electing anyone. We are punishing. This is a Kenyans, not even Kenya, Africans decided to punish
yourself alongside. After you finish punishing these people, are they not going to punish you thereafter?
With what power?
By you allowing the evil one to enter, because you went to
we are going to take you know, it's better the now. Let me reverse this thing that it says that is better the angel that you know than the devil that you don't know. Now we are going to reverse that and just test it for the sake of it. It's better the angel that we don't know than the devil that we know.
So we are going to entrust the country with the angel we don't know, because we must stop all the devils we know.
Yeah, the devils. We already know they are devils, so we are going to just put them in one cocoon, one somewhere, and cut them out, and then we start afresh, and we start now figuring out who's the devil, who's the new devil, who's the new angel, as we move on.
Now I see why you supporting as your pastor. Now I understand. Well, please. Let's make progress. Thank you so much for that. Now, even as well, the devil we know we must punish, and the angel we don't know, let's try him out and see whether they will be able to bring salvation to the country. Important notions there by Mato as he tries to navigate to get home, and then we continue the conversation. Thank you very much, everyone. As we continue with this charge, I really need every one of us to be sober and vigilant. This country direly and desperately needs right leadership, and we need to consider seriously not only the people we remove, but the people we put in office also must matter. And the people that cannot be trusted should not be allowed in public office. All of them together, each one of them, everyone with questionable character should not be allowed into public office. No matter what they offer us, no matter how much they will come for their seduction program that will soon be beginning, and the bribes of the monies and the gifts and the visitations and the praises that they'll come to heap on you. Know them for what they are and treat them as they deserve, not as they deceive you to believe that they are. It's important that that needs to happen. So let it be done as it is required. Thank you very much. Nani hapa? Kabla tuende hapo, ningependa tusisahau bado tunazungumza swala la Traore. Malawi sema hapana. Our minerals we must review. hapa sijui tumesema nini. Sisi ndio wezi kamili. Umesikia vile, umeona vile Afrika imenyamaza? Kila sehemu yote wamenyamaza, haswa wale ambao wanakula na maadui zetu, wale ambao wanakula na wahazidi wetu. I understand that the young men who are protesting in Liberia, they were arrested for supporting Traore. Now that is what you're going to begin to witness in Africa. There is the part of Africa that wants change like yesterday, and there's the other one that wants to continue enjoying the imperial exploitation. Well, let's listen to this lady. I heard her, and what she said really touched me. I want us to hear her out and then wrap it together with what Malawi has said, and then we listen to what Traore has said, and then we conclude. Karibu kila moja, makinika kuingia studio ukaseme ya kwako. Sijui kina Jakindube wamekwenda wapi, lakini tutaendelea na uchambuzi tu mpaka tutamatishe mambo haya. Listen to this, it's just less than a minute and very deep. Listen to this lady.
The solution is not to take Africans and move them to Europe. The solution is to free Africa from certain Europeans who exploit it and allow these people to live off what they have. This is called the CFA franc, a colonial currency that France prints for 14 African nations, and by virtue of which it exploits the resources of this nation. This is a child working in a gold mine in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is one of the poorest nations in the world. For Burkina Faso, which has gold, France prints colonial currency. In return, it demands that 50% of everything Burkina Faso exports ends up in the coffers of the French treasury. The gold that this child crawls into a tunnel to extract mostly ends up in the coffers of the French state.
Okay, there you have it. Fumbo mfumbie mjinga, mwerevu atadifumbua. Msimamo sijui ameenda wapi. Now, that's what's going on. There is something about the colonial forces in Africa. They are here for a specific interest, and that is make use of what is meant for us, for themselves. Pretend to be giving us with one hand and take with the other. And what they are taking is more than what they are giving. And so as we deliberate on this matter, I want us to sober up and be able to reject what we must reject, embrace what we must embrace, so that our world does not end up being, handed over to our children when it's still at the mercy of the foreign forces. There is something amiss with this balance between our colonial masters and us. And like that lady has put it, France wants to continue dominating and not only dominating, but controlling everything from their former colonial nations. When other colonial masters left, France remained back. And now they put like their quarrel with the Traore. They want their army back. They want to be in charge of all there is one thing here. Let me see if I can find it. I read it out. That really touched me. Let me see. Will I get it in good time? Just a moment. Something that really, was an important one. Okay, here we go. This is Traore's caption. It says, somewhere in West Africa, a government would contract foreign multinationals to construct a 300-kilometer road. and the quote will be over $100 million to the people. And the foreign contractor brings in his countrymen who come in and as expatriates to be guided with heavy security as big men using big talks to impregnate our women. He said, I have bought every work machinery for Burkina Faso. And Burkina Faso is constructing 5,000 kilometers road by itself, creating direct employment for the youths of Burkina Faso. May my existence open the eyes of every African youth. Now, this is it. He's talking of when they want to do road, France and the rest of the West want to win that contract. The road they can do is 300 kilometers. And that road will only serve their interest. Why? The money for the road will be paid. Majority of that money will leave the country. They use in the country. And so we keep recycling problems, postponing problems, and then borrowing. Are we going to make this happen? I mean, let our cheza ifanya kwa in Africa alone. Thank you. No. Okay, naona mtu wa dawa amefika. Subiri kidogo tu. I wanted to play this. Okay. I think this one.
The new Burkina Faso president is what we would have made if Gaddafi and Thomas Sankara were cloned. Scientists take notes. Just like Gaddafi built free houses for his people, Ibrahim Traore is now handing out homes like party favors. And if that wasn't enough, last month he dropped over 2,000 tractors to boost food production because Sankara's "Eat what you control" wasn't just a slogan, it was a prophecy. He even stopped exporting raw gold, built a factory, and last week kicked off a road construction project. At this rate, Burkina Faso might just unlock level 100 self-sufficiency before the rest of us.
Let me tell you something wild about history that personally shocked me when I first heard it. A 34-year-old soldier, yes, just a captain, toppled a president and woke up an entire nation. This is the story of Ibrahim Traore and how he changed the course of Burkina Faso. October 2022, a blackout. Soldiers line the streets. Tension fills the air in Ouagadougou, and in the middle stands one man, calm, silent, determined. Not a general, not a politician, just Captain Traore, 34 years old. He had seen the worst: terrorist-controlled zones, schools shut down, roads lost to violence, and his fellow soldiers falling. The government stayed silent, but Traore didn't. On September 30th, he led a coup. President Damiba was gone. He didn't brag. He simply said, "The people deserve better." Personally, I was stunned by his calm, his conviction. It wasn't about power. It was about people. He pushed back against foreign control, reached out to neighbors like Mali, and spoke boldly of Pan-African sovereignty. His message inspired millions. But now, he's under fire, figuratively and literally. Just recently, during a US Senate hearing, a general claimed Ibrahim Traore is a threat to his own people.
Okay, mambo kama hayo tunapoendelea na mchakato. What is the interest of the West in Africa? And why should they be led to stay and control the affairs of Africa when Africa is independent and should be able to chart its way forward? Is Ibrahim Traore some videos saying that nowadays is left for how to use different phrases to mean whatever they wish? But I am for a free Africa where Africans are taken care of. There are various, and if these boundaries establish your powers, one will be a great force that will win any world anywhere, because them eat what we grow, they will starve to death. With our minerals, we will go back to the Stone Age. Well, let's engaging. Karibu mtu vipi lakini?
Salama labda ni.
Mgonjwa wako haja
wangu ni wengi na wanazidi kuongezeka. Tutadunga dawa
dawa wewe. Haya basi, tufungulie watoto wakwe wa
wacha mtoto na mama yake. But is one thing that I've come to understand, like where the nation is going. We are having this a lot of changes, which they come past with the evolution of the technology. But what we don't come to understand, that we have to make a communication whereby these kids and those other people can come to a comprehensive, whereby tumesema watoto wanalewa na kokomelo. Let father and mother, we are just focused on your business. Let's check out the family today. 80% of the parents are absent. Watoto ni wanani?
Kokomelo.
Kokomelo na auntie. Na auntie ameambiwa usiwahi chapa watoto wangu. Now see such a like situation. Huyo auntie ameambiwa usiwahi chapa watoto wangu na ameambiwa usiwarekebishe, wachana nao wakae ni wangu. As long as wamekula, wameoga, wamewapewa kokomelo, the deal is closed.
So future comfortable.
Sema kwamba tunasema shape you to be the person go some part. How will they know that?
Exactly, because it's about that his son, he doesn't reflect his son, he corrects. Parents neglect and correcting their children because what they are saying, I can't let my child because I love them. I let my child cry because I love them.
You can't say it is love. Define love in different ways. But if I will correct you, mistake and then I let you go. Unaona unaenda kuchomeka na sikwambie tu mbele kuna moto inawaka. Mimi naacha tu sienda atania huko. they are doing. If you don't correct them at risk, even you normally know that a tree can be normally be stabilized when it's still young, or can make upright as we still young. But after growing old, it can't be corrected anymore. That's one perspective. And also another perspective that I'm checking out the issue that has been coming up in Kenya recently, you find that most of the issues where is by, for those people in power, they don't want to be corrected. And they don't want to be told the truth. When they, and then they see that other people, they are seeing the same truth, they feel insecure. Now they feel that the only way to get out the threat is to remove the person who is influencing the other people to see the truth. Our politics now.
Okay. And then that, of course, is setting a bad example for the children.
Yeah.
Because kama wakubwa hawatii sheria, kwa nini unataka mimi nitii sheria?
The conversation nikasema kwamba Kenya iko na Wakenya na wenye Kenya. You have to get to that.
Kuna Wakenya na kuna wenye Kenya.
Na wenye Kenya.
Tofautishia hawa watu tujue zipi kwa group gani.
Let me bring it in a phrase whereby in wenye Kenya, they are above the law. Wakenya mko chini ya sheria.
Hey. So wenye nchi ndio hawajali kama wanafuata sheria, lakini kazi yao ni kuhakikisha kwamba kila mwananchi anafuata sheria.
Yeye mfuata sheria, lakini sheria hii apply kwake. Whereby if I did a mistake because I feel like I'm rich, I'm having power, I'm above the law. You can't speak to me, you can't send the police to arrest me. You send the police, I just make a call and then huyo police anafutwa kazi. Hata kushika. Lakini wewe mtu wa kawaida tu umepatikana tu ukitembea hata una makosa. Nikana atakushika tu unakuja unatembea usiku, saa moja ni usiku shua ndio watu tunatoka kazi. So you see, wewe ni Mkenya. You are not we're not the one of Kenya. Lakini kuna wenye Kenya.
Wenye Kenya. Wanaweza kutembea saa 9 usiku lakini hakuna mtu anawauliza. Kwa sababu ni wenye nchi.
Ni wenye nchi.
Hey.
Hata taifa bilioni but you never see. Mtu ana mishiko.
So tufanyeje ndio tuokoke? Tufanyeje ndio tuokoke? Wewe ndio umebeba dawa.
So can we speak of Coca right now is rare or is something that we can say a little bit is so tricky. A little bit. But what I feel like we can align to it is just staying up with the revolution that Gen Z has brought up. If something is wrong, let us pick it out. Let us set it out. Hata sema kwamba hapana nini, we see it is off. Let us show it is off and let us not agree to it. The way we are saying that umwambia mtoto kwamba hii ni makosa na ajue kwamba ni makosa. Let us state it out also towards our nation. You have asked a simple question previously. Well, what is the interest of the West to Africa? We have seen that the West, they are interested in Africa is because what they benefit from. I'll give a simple story that I had before. Whereby there's one man used to take foodstuffs from Masai land. And the moment he take the foodstuffs, he could tell the Masai people after giving them the food that the lorry can't go empty. It will fall. So it must go while loaded. What will you do? You will get sand inside the lorry to help the lorry to walk comfortably. So people used to know that brings the food and we eat, we are happy because of them. But not knowing the benefit the man is getting. So now after loading the sand, once loading of the sand, the man will go send 20. And the food he has brought for only 5,000. Because you get something will accommodate even 5 sacks of meat. Sacks of meat. And then I'll come back with even if I give with a lorry, I like go with the 3 lorries, give me lorry, each lorry 5 sacks, and some little stuffs, maybe cooking oil and such stuff. And then communities, they normally share. They are good at sharing. They will contribute and they share equally. This person comes almost 3 times in a week. How much profit this person? You see, it manipulates you, but then of the making big profit is made benefiting himself.
So it's taking advantage of the ignorance of the people.
Yeah.
And pretend to be helping them, actually making them poorer.
Yeah.
It appears to have been now with the West. It's like they thought they will do that forever. But ni kama siku ya 40 imefika.
Yeah. Usually it's the same story. He said that one day I will follow this track to know where they go with this sand. After following, that's when he realized that they sell this sand a lot of money. Then he went home and told them, do you have gold in our land? We have precious sand in our land. And those people, they sell it 24,000. Right now, when you go to that place, you can't buy sand less than 24,000. Because now they are open. And that's why we see when the West, they're saying that when African people saying, or African leaders saying that we want the mineral in our organization, in our nation, you have to create the factory in our nation. They don't. Because they're saying that now you are busy waking up. They don't want that thing that we are tunasema kwamba ati jenga factory huku kwetu. Because when nikijenga factory kwako, I will export the final product. No, I can't hear.
As long as that continues, we cannot develop. There is a story of Singapore. Is it Singapore? Yes. When it was coming up, it is a story of an elderly man who was approached to be the leader of the country. He said, I don't want to be a president, but if you want to lead, you want me to lead. He gave conditions. And part of the conditions was to be given 100 brilliant students who are in high school or high school at the university level. And the brightest, so give me 100 of them. And I said, this 100, we're going to send them to America, to Britain, to Japan, all the developed countries for studies, and we must pay for them and make sure they continue to excel in that, whatever field that they were pursuing. And then they will be there for 5 years to study, and then they will work for 5 years, and then we'll call them back. And when the student went, they excelled very well. They were at the top of the class. And then, of course, when they got even in the job market, they were the top, in charge of the functioning of the entire industry of a particular part of the world. Then 10 years period ended. And the companies that are lying now on them were unable to run because the people running it have gone back home. So they demanded, they say they back, then they say there's only one man to work. When a branch here, he runs the show from here, monitor both. And that's how the external investors came in and invested, and that's how Singapore picked up. Africa has been generous in letting go what they are supposed to use to develop. They are like that guy in the Ecclesiastes. You remember the rich wise man. A wise man. Story goes that there was a that was besieged, and there was a it was a wise man. So they went to the wise. How do we get ourselves? The city didn't know what to do. A wise man, the formula. They picked the formula, saved themselves. And the Bible says, and no man remembered the same poor wise man. And it says the wisdom of the poor is despised. Because of that, value will end up instead of revival and jar cross is country we're told have gold. I've seen any country we are told we have they really we have all of precious stones. See them, we don't enjoy them. Why?
I can tell you like this. As people with observation that I've been seeing it out. And I want to see it clearly. I say product to go. And the person who will buy the product for 1 ton will buy the price that you can buy 10 pangas. The for 1 pangas will come from 1 ton. Then you say you want to see them. The same copy government battle over it. Just be honest in your coffee. It will sell out. I can't Kirodi. Like the price of Ganadama right now. How much is of the Ganadama? Well, let's say like coffee. Coffee.
Yes, in fact, there's coffee called British. Okay.
Yeah. Check out like I can't say like in desert so much. It doesn't have even a place where they drill oil. Just among the top in the whole world. Tell me we will never prosper, we will never get the benefit because we are selling the crude oil and we are selling it in a top whereby even there we don't see them because that place is one, they're not after not being now all unnecessary until I know yesterday wacha mtu akate kwa basic salary but sio hata kwa interest na unakatwa tax tena.
Oh, it's like what Mumias, when Mumias came to Western Kenya and allowed the farmers to miwa, the sugarcane. Nobody expected riches to flood the Western region, especially for the ordinary farmers being able to make money. But what happened? Mumias came and said they will be giving the seed to the farmers. They will give fertilizer to the farmers. They will come and dig the farm for the farmers. Okay? And it says all this money for this be cut into the product When you supply the maize, whatever the sugar cane, they would deduct the price for the seed, the price for the fertilizer, for the tractor, and even the transportation of the sugar cane from your farm. So what happened? It ended up being that the cost, the seed, the fertilizer, the tractor, and the transportation was more than the maize, more than the sugar cane. And that's why my father uprooted sugar cane from our farm. He has to be paid, and he was told he's owing the company. The sugar cane that came from the farm was not enough to pay for the debt. And that's why he came home silently, picked his djembe and went down to uproot the sugar cane one after the other. Now, we have a scenario here where Africa seems to have been placed permanently on receivership. Okay? Tuko na deni kubwa, kwa hivyo tunaendelea kufanya nini? Tunaishi kulipa deni. Hakuna wakati tutajinufaisha, hakuna wakati tutajidevelop, na kwa sababu tumefanywa kwa hiyo milele. Na hii tuanze kuhesabu. What do we have? What does the West have? Kwa sababu wana print makaratasi wanatupatia, wanaita dola. Sisi ndio tuko na gold, tuko na oil, tuko na copper, tuko na oil. Hao wanatuletea karatasi. Na wanasema karatasi yao is stronger than our gold. How? And so, understanding, I believe in this Traore movement should be supported by every right-thinking African. Na tuache kuchezewa, na tuache kudanganywa na hawa ambao wameamua kuwa nini? Puppets. I'll be playing that video of the Liberia arrests for those who went to protest in support of Traore. Now that's the madness of an African man. He turns against his because he has found a Mzungu friend. That's madness. We must, as a people, be freed from that. And then, of course, the democracy and so-called freedom and human rights is not about safeguarding the welfare of the black man. It is actually an excuse so that you can be directly to the cooking pot and be able to steal the pieces of meat without being noticed. A short video by William Ruto anasema wakae pamoja. Nataka tuangalie uongo ambao haya tunapo anza kutamata. Mimi naona nimefika komo, but let's hear this first.
Karibu tena. Rais William Ruto amewataka Wakenya kuungana na kuepuka kuingia kwenye mitego ya ukabila, akisisitiza nia yake ni ya kukabiliana na ukabila nchini. Akizungumza katika ikulu ya Nairobi leo alipokutana na uongozi wa jamii ya Maa, Rais Ruto aliwarai viongozi hao kuganga ya mwaka wa 2027 na kuunganisha jamii yao.
Tumekubaliana ya kwamba hatutaki siasa ya ukabila, chuki na migawanyiko. Jameni, mkubali kama Wakenya tuungane. Na tuungane ili tuweze kuhakikisha ya kwamba Kenya inapiga hatua ya kwenda mbele na hakuna jamii ama sehemu inabaki nyuma. Nataka tushirikiane na naomba ya kwamba pia na nyinyi mshirikiane. Tusiwe na migawanyiko. Viongozi hata kama ni kuomba kura, tuombe kwa taratibu, kwa heshima. Na kwa ustaarabu.
Tunataka kuangalia mbele, tunaganga yajayo. Tunaangalia mbele, tukisonga na wewe katika ujenzi wa taifa.
Sisi tuko kwa ground, we are going to support you 100%. Hii kazi ya kubaki nyuma tumesema hatutaki. Na kwa sababu nimeomba kabisa kwa heshima, I came here purposely to assure you.
Huyo ni William amekutana na Maa community. Okay? Inamaanisha Wamasai hao ndio wamekutana tribe, okay, to pledge their allegiance them tribal politics. He doesn't. So mimi nataka mni meet a committee, the name of that, and asking them to stick together as a community. Are you not doing tribal politics in 1 minute?
Okay, I'll just be Kenya. With the when you are speaking with and bado tu in our government kuna ile kamvutano ya mtu wa kwetu, huyu alinisaidia hapa, huyu alifanya nini, sisi tunataka hii. Now you get the point. So I'll make sure I'm pretending that nasema kwamba sisi wote but aiming.
So hii ni udanganyifu ama ndio kucheza karata?
Mimi hata sasa sijui, but I don't know what is the plan, but we'll see the plan before the end of the year.
So let's have how are you today?
I'm well, Bernard. Good to see Shadiza. I don't know who is in the background, but just got in a little late. But it's good to be here. I'm well. How are you, Bernard? Can you hear me? Have I lost you? Hello?
Nabaga. Lala, are you having some network? And me still.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
Oh, yes, I can. Am I audible? Okay, wonderful. It's good to see, all of you. And I guess there's a lot going on. I saw the Matiang'i crowd, a good crowd. And he's a great character. I think he has potential to be a good leader in the nation like Kenya. The question really is not about what he can do, because we have seen what he can do. The question is that, is he politically prepared? You see, you can be a good manager, a good administrator, but then you're very poor in politics. He's never done any politics. He's just got elected office, not elected office, but appointment. He's a civil servant. He's somebody to work. So he has a long way to go. Maraga is a credible candidate, and there are others who will come up, which is okay. That's what democracy is all about. Let them all come out, and be tested. But what my concern is, always the one issue that has been, I would say, our blockage towards being the world we want to be as Kenya, to the first world, is that thing you mentioned, tribalism. The more they talk about tribalism, the more you see it basically they are, it's either they're ignorant of what they're talking about, or they don't understand themselves, or they are so swallowed to the point where tribalism means something else. But you see group coming as a community. A community means these are people who speak the same language and others. So to me, I thought Baba's address was the best at the funeral. I listened to it. He gave an example, Germany, where they had all those tribes. And the Bismarck, I think, is the one who came and told them, if we don't unite, then the French will come, will take advantage of us. The English will take us because we look like third class in the group. Let us put ourselves together. And of course, Germany did not look back. So you see what they have done. So I thought that was a good example of how to destroy this thing called tribalism. Otherwise, we're in the middle of it. I saw the excitement. I hope it is not just where he's born. He has to appeal to all Kenyans. And because he lacks that political, angle, he may have it rough. He may need others to stand with him, people like Baba and others to stand with him to kind of help him, because the way Kenyan politics is terrible, and that tribalism is a major factor. And then the other one, of course, is corruption. Corruption give weight to money. Okay, now money speaks, and money can be a good thing, but in Kenyan situation, it's a very bad thing because we end up electing wrong people. Finally, I think there are certain dynamics which I think we may have to talk about. People are moving towards Traore type of leadership, moving away from the US and others. But if you are tied to those Western powers because you work for them, for example, this engagement with the US aid and where it's coming from and all what happened, those are things that can be a weight on him. So he has to really explain to Kenyans, how independent is going to be from this West that may be pushing him to run for this office. And so it's still very early, but it's okay to talk about preparation, especially if we are going for the election in 2026. I think every Kenyan should look at 2026 because that is the constitution. Based on what I heard, I think we gotta go by it, by 2026. Let the government plan 2027, but Kenyans, the GMCs and others, all of us should look at the constitution. And unless we are persuaded, there's a reason why we should change 2027. So it's not late, it's not early, that is. We should begin to think in terms of an election so that we get rid of this government, get it out of the way, and then move forward. At the Maasais, I saw them there with Ruto, and I think that is the fact that the memorandum of understanding, from what they're explaining, which is a little bit confusing, but my understanding is that since there is a government, okay, let's not destroy the boat. Let us sail so that we can be a unit rather than starting a fight or some kind of dirty things. Yet we are all part of the same government because the constitution has got no, opposition party. It's basically one government. Whether it's a county government, there may be an UDA, ODM, and others. So, in a sense, we are tied together. We got to work together towards that, that end. Unless we decide as a nation to say we are calling this election early, which is my wish. But if not, then of course the government has to be there. We don't want a lawless government. Even those who are opposing it, they still use the services of the country. They go to the hospitals, they go to use the roads, and all these things are part of the government. So we can't be naive to think of ourselves as we don't like the government, yet we are using the currency in that you're using as part of the government. And you are a taxpayer, and Kenya system recognizes that after the election, we are all part of the same thing. We are maybe a minority, a majority, but we are part of the same system. So that's what I can say, Bernard.
It's an issue with you're breaking.
Oh,
we didn't get to your last submission.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. The
Yeah.
last 1
Last
minute.
part, what I stated is all Kenyans must understand that we only have majority and minority. Okay, it means that all of us are part of a government, even those in the other parties. As long as you are maybe a governor, you're part of the government. The Constitution recognizes you as part of the government. All Kenyans are part of that government, supposed to work for us. So if we start claiming the government is supposed to be different, otherwise we are not supposed to be in it, then you got a problem, because you're using the money. The money, I think, is controlled by the government, central bank, and so unless you're not going to use the money and things like that, so let's not be naive. Let's do what the Constitution tells us. If we don't like the government, we should have called for it to end it. But as long as it is there, we still are the one to carry the load to the end of the term of this government. So the Maasais are okay. They can continue with their development because they need schools, they need hospitals, they need services, but those are part of their right, not to go and ask somebody in the State House. Those automatically should be coming to them. So this idea of mtukufu raisi, umetupatia hii na hii, that's where the problem comes. But government should be functioning for the benefit of all Kenyans, because that's why it is there. So so we don't want to cheapen this cheap politics that cause some people to leave, others to stay, and it's not good. Back to you, Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Lala. We appreciate that. And because of the network hiccups, we would want to begin to wrap up. But before I let you go, I would want you to say something and the West being in a push and pull, and then that Traore is being supported by Russia to some degree, and they have some PAC that is ensuring that one, his safety, as well as his homegrown solutions are not collapsing. I understand there has been a PAC signed for Russia to establish to support the establishment of the mining of gold from Burkina Faso, and then they are able to sell it at the market price. So I want you to help us look at the advantages of warming up to Russia as opposed to the West, or is there a disadvantage if Africa walks away from the West and warms up to the East?
First of all, I don't give credence to all that being, discussed online, or some of these are, we used to call them radios without batteries, because there's speculation. What I know is this, that when Traore came into office, he was open to help from every side. He didn't, in fact, the Russians thought he was on their side, but then after that, he refused them even to sign certain contracts with them. So he's tried to stay independent. But there come a time when there are people who want to eliminate you. You may want to go out and get some help. Kenyans must know that there is so much business going on between Russia and the US, more than Kenya. Okay? In other words, when you are told these are enemies, but if you look deeper, there is so much going on between them. Whether it is going to build outer space, station out there, they're working together. Engineers, disease and others, they're working together. The question is, why should African country also have that openness to work with whoever is available, but openly? Okay, so this idea that as is really messed Africa. Africa is where the proxy wars have been fought. Okay, either assassinations or and these are fight for resources. And I think the young man is aware of that. He knows how his predecessor was murdered and killed using these ideologues, the ideologies that are foreign to us. So, as a matter of fact, if he's getting help for protection, and there's nothing wrong with that, that does not mean he's pro those people. It just means that he's open to anybody who want to work with us. He has mentioned it many times that he's willing to work with anybody. In fact, in the US and other places. So these ideas are put out there to discredit him, so that they can be taken out, so that people start looking at this suspiciously. That is a proxy of Russia, when actually this is an authentic African leader whose interest is simply to help his people, and we know that. So I think we should not listen to some of these people out there. Yes, he will go and buy things where he can find them. If the West can't sell him some things, why can't he not buy it wherever he needs to buy them? So to me, I don't give credence to such criticism, because they're not. They're simply there to undermine. In fact, the same idea of assassination and all this buying, going east and all that, it has been used, in the past. And that's the reason why even a country like Tanzania, under Nyerere, was isolated, because they were seen as pro this and pro that, when actually Nyerere was basically pro-Africa. He didn't mind help from any side. He's a product to British education. He was very fond of the US, but then they pinned him, they kind of made him look like he is either pro China or those places, and so that they can isolate him and create a situation where he can't manage his economy well. The same with the Nkrumah and the rest. So we got to protect this young man. He's doing the right thing. Is actually he is the manhood of emancipated African. He is our manhood, is our leader, when you want to think of it that way. And so we must be there to protect him. His leadership is beyond Burkina Faso. He's a leader of Kenya, South Africa, and others. He's bigger, he's larger than his country, and we must protect him. It's the voice right now for Africa when it comes to identity that we're looking forward to have as a continent. So I don't buy into those Russian things. Yes, he's free to buy anything, whatever. And that's what he said. And he has been consistent. That's the good thing. Back to you, Bernard.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And we'll be looking into that further into our subsequent programs, because that seems to be a thorny issue, and you have well put the way the propaganda is thrown around so that specific ends are met, that including our politics being used as a means of creating enemies by reason of association. If I want you to fall out with somebody, I say, ulienda ukakula chakula kwa Moi, wewe sasa umekuwa mtu wa Moi, hauwezi kuwa kwa chama yetu kwa sababu ulikula na Moi. But all that is only meant to separate two forces that if they came together, they would be too strong for that particular force to fight against. And so that could also be part of the adversary's agenda in trying to isolate the young man and, of course, Burkina Faso. And, of course, I loved the Malawian president also joining into it by saying our resources should be kept within our borders, and anybody who wants our resources should come and invest back home here. And so I would want that replicated everywhere so that we don't continue with the aspect of us throwing away our resources and getting back peanuts and continually being enslaved by servicing debts every year, every generation. And it is set in such a way that it will be perpetual. We'll never have a time when we will have anything to do anything for ourselves. And so it's my prayer that we will rally together as African leaders and ensure that what is good for Africa is kept within Africa, and what is not good for Africa should leave our borders. Thank you.
Yeah. Bernard, why I think Traore's crit is important to Africa right now. Listen to recently, I think Saudi Arabia offered to build mosques in Burkina Faso. I think about 100, I don't know, 200 mosques. And he refused, he declined. He told them Burkina Faso need hospitals and schools, okay? So he saw that as a need. And then we have a president in Kenya who is giving 20 million to a church that does not need it. They can have their places to meet. They come from middle class when our kids are learning under trees, okay? Misplaced priority. So who is the real leader in this case? Just comparing the two, Ruto and Traore, you know. So clearly we got our Mandela, you know, our Nkrumah to guide us. And this young man fits that shoes very, very well, just with that act. Because he's a Muslim, he should have simply asked for those mosques to be built. But he said, no, our priority is our hospitals. And he told them, Gazans are praying, you know, even with that kind of bombing, and they're still praying, you know. And he saw that as a way to use religion to keep us docile and spoil our resources. And Saudis will come in with those mosques, then they come in, want land to plant and want maids to take to Saudi Arabia, you know, from those countries because they are Muslims to go there to be enslaved out there. No, this man is saying, no, we are children of God, we need schools and hospitals. So which is more Christian? Is Ruto's act or Traore's act, a Muslim man? So these are factors that are very important for us to talk about and debate. Thank you.
Exactly, and I'm on 100% support of Traore's decision, because one of the avenues that has been used as a camouflage to get people, to get Africa remain on her knees while the rest of the world is developing, is the hiding behind religion and supporting religion at the expense of education, at the expense of healthcare, at the expense of really practical development. And so as African leaders, we must rally together and support what is really important. And that's what I was saying in the opening of the show about the current resurgent of killing young people. In the past, the young people were preserved. Hata kama kijana alikuwa mwizi ama nini, amepatikana mwizi. There was not that haste in killing the person. They would maim the person, they would punish the person, but preserve him for the future generations. But today we are picking dead bodies in the rivers, and they're all young boys and all that. Why are we not preserving the future generation? And so if we are not building schools, we are not securing healthcare, we are not ensuring that the lives of the young people is preserved, then we are eating the future today. We are destroying the future so that there will be no future to go to. And so we as African leaders, we must have a rethink and begin to invest more into the future than eat the future. Because what we are doing, like in Kenya, we are borrowing. What we are borrowing will be paid in 50 years. What we are borrowing will be paid in 30 years. What we are borrowing will be paid in 60 years. All that is eating the future today, so that by the time we get into that future, there is nothing left. And I think that's a lesson to be borrowed even from Traore, because Traore's first priority was pay off the debts so that he gets rid of everybody backing him and now concentrate on the development agenda. He's doing roads, he's doing using his own board machinery. So, so that he doesn't owe anybody anything.
Yes, Bernard. One impressive thing this young man did. The young man still drive the vehicle that he had when he was still just a captain. He's never changed that. In other words, resources have not been diverted to build mansions and helicopters and choppers. They have been taken to build the nation, to improve roads, to create, in fact, the network of roads that was left was very little. The man has almost doubled the roads themselves and schools and hospitals. So the funds are being seen to do the right thing, by all of us. And that violence you mentioned is also very worrisome. Bernard, you remember when I came home? I came home because of those Mandamano, the young people who were killed. Okay, and I went to 3-4 different places, and this man who was killed, Were, we had lunch together with him at Piccadilly in Kendu Bay, that I've had people talk, some of this news. We had lunch with all the area MPs there, and I was representing us and the diaspora in some of those meetings, some of those funerals that we are attending. So this violence is another factor that we really need to really look at, because it's we see it in government, and then now it's been spread to other people. So in terms to leadership, we have seen campaign as a place to unleash terror on people, and people have been killed, have been maimed, have been hurt. And if we think of building a nation, we must move away from violence. And I think it's worse than a time when politicians would address a rally and you have everybody together on the podium. You share your vision, I share mine. At the end of the day, we shake hands and move home because we are one. But right now, if that happened, you can see people dying and shooting and whatever. And when people are hurt or are killed, nobody is convicted. Nothing is done. And so they get bold and bold and bold. And so we are not even ready for the next election if we don't address some of these issues. And so when we talk about broad-based government and others, these are the factors that should be factored in. But above all, there has to be acknowledgement that things were done wrong. The sin was done, blood was shed, lies were made, were done. So if we don't address the real issues, then we are cheating ourselves, because all we are doing is retooling the old war machine that will be unleashed and many lives will be lost. So these are factors that we must talk about at this time, not tomorrow, but now, because our future depends on what we do now with what we have. And I'm happy to see Matiang'i. I'm happy to see the Mao going to the Mao people going to the State House. But what are we doing? The question is, what is Kenya doing? We are not preparing for election. There are a lot of people waiting for either money. Matiang'i has brought, how much has he brought in? Okay. What is Ruto going to give, and other people coming? So I'm worried for the state of the nation at this moment if we don't address this issue. So I pray that this moment should be used to really do soul searching and look at the conscience of a nation, because there's so much blood that's been shed, and there has to be a reconciliation based on truth, based on humility, based on knowledge. If possible, this is the time even to come up with a Truth and Justice Committee to begin to inquire on some of these things that have happened. The Cherera 4, where do we put them? They still look like they are criminals. The government Ruto is still in power when we know they were not criminal. How do we address those issues? So we are still not out of the woods. We are still in a very bad shape, and so let's listen to the voice of reasons, and let's not take two extremes. Both sides have their extremes. That we only want to get power. That's what we are thinking about, not thinking about how do we get there. What are the issues that need to be addressed to create a level playing field? Then there are those who are in power that want to maintain what they have. And so we in the middle must ask for better approach to the next election. What are we doing? Have we done any minimum preparation of the nation? We have not. What's the church doing? Okay. What are the key holders, trade union and others? This is the time. But to cheat people in a meeting or some of those meetings and talk, yet we are not addressing the problem, is a big mistake. That's back to you.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Lala. We appreciate that. And we want to call it a day there. We'll be proceeding in the subsequent shows. We are still looking at the wider perspective of the African revolution that is building up, led by Traore, as well as the reception of various responses around the country, and then of course the dead silence of the Western puppets around Africa, who have said nothing about what is going on, especially on 30th when Africa was protesting and in solidarity with Traore. As our politics also shape up locally, let us also be vigilant. Like I said, don't vote for people because of euphoria and because of the wave. Let us consider and assess everybody individually, put them on the scale, so that when you cast your vote, you are casting your confidence, you are ratifying that this is the man that you need to be in office because he will do what is required to be done. So let's not follow the wind that we are being invited into and forget to check the people that we will put in office and what they may eventually mean to us when they begin to do what they need to do while they are in the office. So I need you to think deeply. Don't say Wamunyoro amesema, seme Kalonzo amesema, seme Baba amesema. Let assess every individual individually and be sure that huyu tukimpatia ofisi anaweza kufanya kazi. Huyu ni mwizi, huyu ni mkora, huyu ni muongo. So that ikieleweke, kusikuwe na ile hali tena ya kusema walikuja na Biblia katudanganya, huyu mwingine sasa amekuja na msalaba ametudanganya, mwingine amekuja na mkia ya mbuzi ametudanganya. Sasa wakati huu tukue wa Kenya ambao tunatumia akili ipasavyo na tunaamua viongozi wetu ipasavyo. Naomba nifunge na hii ili tunapoondoka kumbuka kwamba Big J naye ndio anaingia.
Bernard.
Just a moment is here. Yes, Lala, you're saying?
Yesterday I talked to someone here, an American who is really sold to Africa. She's a professor, and she's really, and one of the discussion, and I shared with them that we have a panel here, and that we are much involved in African, affair, and she's really interested in what we do here, and had suggested or wanted to actually visit Burkina Faso, and so hopefully we'll send plan to get there at least to see this man, and then we can also share experience being there to see how things are, and also if possible to talk with him. So we trying to make some contacts that will allow us to be able to let the Sound Candid talk, have the privilege of first-hand information coming from Burkina Faso. So I just want you to know that, you pray about it.
Exactly. Thank you so much. That's a good one, and we can't wait to have that happening. Big J,
good to see you.
Ulikuwa State House. Iliona wabiele wetu wameingia State House.
Wewe unajua mimi kuna mabasi mimi sipandangi. Hiyo basi ya State House hawezi niona, hata kama ninampenda baba, Kenya anafanya ni maamuzi yake. I cannot do that, because I know where our country is going. I know what the problem. I know politically, hiyo ni kama suicide. Ni kama hata hii ya Matiang'i saa hii watu wananini sana. I don't board that kind of buses, because Bernard, one thing I hate, mimi ule mtu doesn't follow the rule of law, I don't respect that person. Kama wa Kisii wangelikuwa nataka kutupatia president, wangetupatia naitoka emeritus.
Emeritus.
Wangetupatia huyo mzee, lakini kutupatia Matiang'i ni kama kutupatia Ruto tu, because at that time when Jubilee government na Matiang'i ndiye alikuwa internal security minister, alitufanyia hakuna kitu ya kutufanyia. He killed us. Alituua vizuri. He was the CS for Interior. So what is the difference between Ruto and Matiang'i? People have to think. Matiang'i alidefy court orders karibu 100. And that is a person who wants to be a president of the country. That means he's going there so that he will not follow the rule of law, the constitution. Then lazima tuwe soba. Nimeona nani hapo anaitwa nani? Tani ameandika mara mingi, anasema lazima tuwe waangalifu, tusirudie makosa tulifanya 2022. And actually that is where we are going. We are going to repeat again the same problem. I think for me, Nani, I have that feeling from my heart and from my spirit and from my soul. Ule mtu angetuokoa Pastor Lala ni huyu mzee anaitwa nani? Maraga is the only person ambaye angetusaidia in this country at this situation tuko nayo sahi, because he will follow the constitution to the letter. So sahizi lakini I'm happy Ruto, najua kuna kitu kimoja amefanya cha very important thing. Hii kitu aliita bottom up. it's really working. Sasa kama Gaucho anaenda Rift Valley ku inspect projects za serikali zio bottom up is really working. Yeah. Bernard, that bottom up fulfilled. That is the only thing that Ruto fulfilled in his entire presidency of 2 years and a half. So Bernard, mi kichenye nilikuwa nataka kusema, I don't, hii story ya Africa, Traore is doing good, but you see the problem of Africa is we Africans, kwa sababu ya tumbo. Mtu unapatiwa pesa unaenda kuua mtu kama Traore ambaye anafanyia watu kazi. Na ule mtu kama ule anamaliza wa Kenya. Can you imagine Bernard kama saizi sijui lala unatumianga nini kuship, for example ukiwa na kitu kutoka Kenya unataka kuship kupeleka US. Siku hizi because sababu Ruto ako na mandege za cargo, he doesn't allow shipping by sending baggage parcels by ship. You are forced to send by airplane, and you know airplane is very expensive. So we have a president who is very good in business for enriching himself. He doesn't think, he's not thinking about anybody else. That is the kind of a president watu walichagua, and they are now making noise, regrouping and shouting because of unajua ni kama umetolewa kwa sahani ya ugali na umeguza tu kidogo, umeingiza tu mara, umechukua kipisi kimoja kwa soup ukaweka kwa mdomo alafu unasukumwa kando. That's why they are making noise. Me for Bernard kusema ukweli, hata hii Gachagua story I cannot buy it. Gachagua is not Jesus. He's not a savior. Gachagua is just another tumbocrat ambaye ni kwa sababu ya disagreement ya wizi. They are all thieves. So the way I hoped, I prayed that Maraga could get that ticket and supported by Kenyans if we want a real change in the country. Because if we don't, we get somebody who doesn't follow the rule of law and the constitution itself, or what it says, then definitely we are going back. We are going back. We are not moving anywhere. Because unajua the constitution ndio inatuonyesha, that's why we have it. Tuonyesha vile tunafanya kila mpangilio. Inapatia kila judiciary their powers, inapatia parliament their powers, Kenya their powers. So the constitution inatuambia all those things, but we got it wrong and we are getting it wrong. And nakuambia 2027 kama things doesn't change, we are going to the same pot. Na tutakuja hapa Bernard, mark my word, tutakuja hapa tukilia. Tutakuja hapa the same place na tuanze kulia vile makosa imefanyika. Yeah, so I think it's time we sober up. We sober up really soberly and educate our people. But I don't know how we are going to educate our people, because ukiona it's a tribal thing. Hata hii ya Matiang'i is not going to be an of course people are saying that uki kwanza unaanza na nyumbani alafu na hiyo kitu angefanya professionally, vile alitoka akaanguka Jomo Kenyatta airport, waongojewe watu wamkuje kumuongojea Nairobi. Nairobi is the headquarters of Kenya. Watu kuja, that means he's, it's a face, it shows the face of the whole country. Somebody must move and become an international person, not anyway. Bernard, najua nilikuja nimechelewa, mnataka kufunga, wacha tu niachie hapo.
So thank you, Big J. It's I share your sentiments on the same. I think Matiang'i is coming with a huge baggage that the country cannot afford. He is not just a Kisii candidate. He's a candidate for various interests. He's a candidate for the elites. He's a candidate for the, I'm sure, the foreign powers are also in it, and he's in there to protect specific interests that he alone can do. And that's why he's being fronted and being oiled. And to me, that makes him a huge baggage, that where the country is right now, if we bring another disaster in terms of a president who is a president of Kenya but is serving the interest of another person, will be buried before we raise our head up again to get oxygen. So the Maraga ticket is an attractive one. I have always advocated for if we put mix Maraga, the old man, and put somebody like Sifuna, who is younger, and both of them are committed to following the law, we will fix this country in 2-3 years. Kenya will be a different world altogether. But if we bring this baggage, people who are there to protect the thieves who have stolen for many years and protect their wealth, and the country continues to wallow in poverty, with the now education failed, healthcare failed, everything falling apart. No, the country cannot afford another baggage. So let Kenya sober up. Let's look at the whole person, not just the euphoria that is being sponsored by so-and-so, is being supported by so-and-so. And then, of course, we have also the tribal interest. Wamunyoro is specific. Anasema anaenda kutengeneza mtu akuwe rais, lakini akiwa rais, angalia watu wa mlima. So now the moment that has happened, whoever Wamunyoro makes president is not going to serve Kenya. It's going to serve Mulima. And Mulima will not be satisfied until they have gotten the lion's share. When they get the lion's share, what remains for the rest of Kenya? And so I really would want a free presidential candidate. Free. Yule ambaye amechaguliwa na Wakenya wote freely, bila attached strings. So that when he gets in office, he's not afraid of being impeached. He's not afraid of being sabotaged. He's not afraid of being manipulated, because he doesn't owe any region. He's elected by all Kenyans. We may not get there in 2026, 2027, but I think we should pray and work towards that direction, getting Kenyans to elect a president who is free of any form of claim. Lakini Matiang'i akifanywa rais na watu wa mlima, atawaambia kwenu mko na kura ngapi? 900 million. I mean 900,000. Sisi tulikupatia 6 million. Huwezi kutupatia viti mbili ya minister. How? Sisi ndio 6 million. So what we really need here is take out of these tribal arrangements and focus on building Kenya and having a president who can be owned by all Kenyans equally. President akienda Turkana anakubalika, akienda Kisii anakubalika, akienda Luoland anakubalika. Kwa nini? Anasapotiwa na hawa watu wote. Lakini huyu ashanaswa tayari, ashafanywa a particular regional president. Huyu ni mzigo tayari. And so Wakenya na waomba, tuamke, tutoke kwa ujinga, tutekeleze wajibu wetu kuokoa nchi yetu kabisa kabisa. Kwa hivyo kama hakuna la ziada, naomba Lala in a minute or so tufunge tafadhali. Masaa ndio haya.
Bernard, all we need to pray for is God to give us a leader. A leader may be elected from a particular region, but he has that vision, that conviction. Because you may even elect somebody with everybody. Kibaki was elected with everybody. But then when he came to appointment, he started moving towards his zone. So let us get a leader who will defy even the people's wishes, because sometimes it is us, the Kenyans, who are the problem, because we tend to go by our person. But a leader should be able to dismantle that. In fact, we thought Kibaki was going to do it. He had the best opportunity because he got all of us voting for him. But he's the one who failed us probably the most in terms of political. Economic, he did better. But you can't just judge things on economy alone. It has to be a full package because political leadership dictates everything. So he left us in a very bad position, handing it over to Uhuru was a big mistake. So that's my take on it. And so we can just pray. Big J, it's good to see you and others in the background. Let's give thanks to God for he's able to do far beyond what we think or imagine. Okay, let's pray. Lord, we come before you in prayer because nations, people, mind, hearts, and spirits of men is all in your hand. Lord, we are calling on your name to remember us as a nation. And Lord, we can be a people that are known by your name because we listen to the voice of God through the Constitution and love for you and love for each other. We commit our nation before you and our region before you, Lord. We have been the laughingstock of the world, stuck in poverty. Yes, you have enriched us with so much resource. We ask you, Father God, to guide Africa. Africa, the land that has everything it needs, not like any other continent. It's only Africa where there's enough, where there's oil, food, gas, minerals, and good climate and good weather is all here with us. Yet we don't see it. Wars and fight and bad governance, tribalism is choking life out of the continent. We pray that God, you send your spirit, Lord, to speak to the hearts of man. All of us, my Father, Lord, we shall see the commonality that we have with each other, that we can support each other, that Africa can develop, my God. We ask you, Father God, to be with us, be with our leaders, oh God, and open their eyes to see the truth, that they can follow the truth. We pray for protection of Traore, that he will be safe, as he has been a good example, Master. Would you just help that nation to be that example it has been? We honor you, Father, even for this group. Thank you for Bernard and all of us in this group. May we do your will by contributing and sharing with each other, supporting each other, and supporting the causes that are important in your eyes, Master. The young man whom you preserved his life to be an example for us, with that, Father God, you be with him as we are supporting him, that Lord God, he'll fulfill his dream. And for our young people that have been hurt by violence, that Father, remember them, the parents, those who are struggling, Master, will you remember them? Remember us, oh God, as a nation. We thank you tonight. Thank you for your faithfulness. We ask all this in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much, Reverend Lala. Thank you, Big J. Let's link up again in the next show. Ladies and gentlemen, keep it at Sound Candy Talk. Even when we are off, keep sharing the video. Help somebody to subscribe so that we grow together. Thank you so much for what you're doing on TikTok. We seem to have a very good response on TikTok. So if you are on TikTok and you have not found Sound Candy Talk, please find it and then get some videos we are sharing there that we don't share it on this YouTube or Facebook. So please, let's gang up and make a difference. And thank you those who are supporting us to pay our bills. We really appreciate the support. You keep us here, and we are really, really grateful. And like Lala has prayed, we are still supporting Frank. Don't forget that. So we have double bills every time and every month. So since the month is over, let's not forget to do our part in ensuring that those bills are paid and we are functioning without struggling in ensuring that the right thing is done every time. I also want to appreciate those who send their contribution in support of Stony PK and the funeral. The burial is today, according to the information I have. And therefore, I really want to salute everyone for the support, moral support, and words of encouragement and financial boost. We ask that God will bless you. And let's link up again in the next show. Keep it at Sound Candy Talk. Keep sharing, and let's learn all we can learn. God bless you.
Captain Ibrahim Traore, has just made history by launching his own line of aircraft, vehicles, and smartphones, sending shockwaves through the global market. His bold move to position Burkina Faso as a tech and manufacturing powerhouse has sparked major backlash from Western leaders and corporate giants, including Donald Trump and Elon Musk. The newly unveiled Traore tech conglomerate is set to produce Burki Air, Africa's first domestically built aircraft, designed for military and commercial use. Faso Motors, a locally manufactured electric and fuel-powered vehicle brand. Sahel Phone, a secure, high-performance smartphone free from Western tech influence. Speaking at the grand launch, Traore declared his mission to end Africa's dependency on Western-made technology, stating, "For too long, Africa has been a consumer, not a creator. Today, we take back control of our industries, our resources, and our future." However, this game-changing development has not been welcomed by everyone. Elon Musk, the billionaire behind Tesla and SpaceX, reportedly sees Traore's move as a direct challenge to his dominance in electric vehicles and aerospace. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is said to be furious over the rapid rise of an African leader challenging Western economic control. Sources claim Trump is pressuring allies to place sanctions on Traore's businesses, citing unfair competition. Despite these threats, Traore remains defiant, promising to expand his companies across Africa, creating jobs and ensuring the continent no longer depends on foreign corporations. His supporters hail him as a modern-day African revolutionary, while critics warn that his actions could trigger global economic tensions. Will Traore's bold vision succeed, or will Western powers try to shut him down? One thing is certain: the world is watching, and Africa's time has come. Stay tuned for more updates.
Tonight.
Basi yule mtoto akasema ile siku moja mimi sijaenda kanisani na Yesu Kristo anakuja.
Because kuleta ndege ya Chief of Defense Forces down is not only negligence but criminal negligence.
Nilikuja hapa hadi ya Gong nikamwambia mchague Ruto. Na mimi naomba msamaha.
Na mchezo huu rais, ni mchezo ambao utakusaidia wewe rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Ni mchezo ambao unakufundisha jinsi vile kufanya kazi.
Your Excellency, what helped that case was there was a policeman who recorded his statement in English.
Sasa huyu ndiye nilipiga kofi. Juzi ndio amenipigia simu akaniambia.
Tonight.